Hello. How's everybody doing this wonderful Monday evening? This is Brother John Stewart on behalf of Lost Sheep Ministries, here to bring y'all actually not bring you a lesson tonight. This is a special day for me. First of all, let me apologize to anybody that's been waiting around. I know I put 6 o'clock on for the starting time, and it was supposed to start at 6. I was ready to start at 6, but I got caught up in a call, very important call that I could not drop. Like, it was like I can't even get into the details of it, but it was extremely important call. That's the only reason why I would be this late, y'all. I never would do this. Y'all know I've been 10, 15 minutes late. I've never been over an hour late. But I got a call right as I was getting ready to get started. Thought it was going to be a quick call, but it ended up being way much more than that. And it was a call that I had to take. I couldn't, it wasn't an option. Got some things going on and I had to get some clarification on it. And I was getting it straightened up in this call. So, man, I apologize wholeheartedly for that. I know that's not good business, especially you want people to come in and watch your videos. You know, you need to be there when you say you're going to be there. So I apologize from the bottom of my heart with that. And I kind of hint at it a little bit. I actually bring it up. If y'all make it through the whole thing, I kind of tell you what was going on at the end of this video. But Brother John Stewart on behalf of Lost Sheep Ministries here to share with y'all on this special day my testimony. So for those of y'all that know me know exactly 22 years ago, on February 15th, 2004, it was a Sunday, I got called to preach. And at February 17th at 12 a.m., which is about a little over 4.5 hours away, is when I accepted that call to preach. So every year about this time, I like to share my testimony, and then the following week, I like to share a salvation message on salvation and grace and things of that nature. So I wanted to make sure that I got here to do that tonight. But again, I got caught up in a call, and it was a very important call that I couldn't. I was hoping it would be done before the time so I can get my testimony done, but it wasn't. And I do apologize from the bottom of my heart. But with that being said, thank you for being here tonight. This is a special occasion for me. Get to celebrate 22 years, and the way the time is lining up is perfect. So I'm here to share my testimony tonight. And this is already going to be long enough, so I've done enough talking and rambling on. So let me just jump into this. So again, John Stewart, a minister of Lost Sheep Ministry. And, my whole little story, I'm going to take you guys back to the beginning. So, my life, it all started back in Memphis, Tennessee, North Memphis, Tennessee, North. My folks got to represent my folks out there. So I was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. My mama, she had loved her to death. My mama had me when she was very young. She was only 14 when she got pregnant with me. She had me when she was 15. So it's a weird dynamic because we're in the same age bracket. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how you go to applications and they be like, between this age and this age, check this box. Me and her check the same box. It's kind of weird because we both are about the same age group. But she had me really young. My dad was 15. You know, so when young parents and things like that, man, it's hard to be a parent, especially hard to be a parent anyway, but especially a young parent. So they went through the trials and tribulations, and of course my dad, being hood, the hood story. Guys never hang around. So my dad, he didn't hang around, and so she ended up being a single mom, and she struggled. You know what I'm saying, because of that. But for like the first few years of my life, she actually did really good. Like, she was a very beautiful woman. She was very hardworking. She always, even though she was by herself, then a couple of years after I was born, she had my brother about 5 years old. So I was about 5. So we 5 years apart. So when I was about 5, she had my brother. And, his dad didn't really hang around, didn't do much. So she did good, man. She was a good mom, loved her to death. She worked her butt on. We always had our own apartment. We always had our own cars and was able to get around the city and things like that. And she did all she could until the event happened that changed everything. So I'm gonna start the testimony. I'll just tell you some of the main characters, which one I've already talked about is my mom. My grandmother is, I think, the most important one as far as where I am today. So I ended up being raised by my grandmother at some point, and I get to that in the story. But I ended up being raised by my grandmother. Love her to death. My grandma, she's old school. Grandma was old school. Didn't play. She believed, a child should be heard and not seen and not heard. It wasn't no correcting her. You know what I'm saying? Because how sometimes older people was just say stuff and they're just absolutely not true. You know what I'm saying? They just said, and it was absolutely not true. and I was bad about trying to correct my grandma, and she used to wear these rings on her fingers, and you know what I'm saying, I'd be like, well, grandma, this is not, and she'd just go back like that, you know what I'm saying, like she was so mean, bro, and she just go back like that, didn't even look back, bam, right in the mouth every time, and I could hear the rings going across my tongue, my teeth, you know what I'm saying. So I really didn't like my grandma. My grandma was very mean. What's up, cuz? Appreciate you being here. Hey, she testified. I'm telling you the truth. She did not play. So my grandma, she was very mean. So actually, as a youngster, I did not like my grandma because she was so mean. She was so strict. She didn't play. She did this other thing, which I don't understand why she did it. And my cousin tells she would drink some water and she would just hold the water in her mouth. Like she just get a mouthful of water and just sit there for like an hour. And then like soon, and you get disrespectful. You know, as kids like to get mouthy, and she'll say something, and she can talk with the water and just talk. And if you say something back, she will spit that water in your face that's been sitting in her mouth for like an hour. So now it's like water and saliva and all that. And you just sitting there, and it always stunk too. I can even talk about. I can smell the smell. Right now from that hot water, moist warm water like leaking down my face. So it was always horrible. But you know what I'm saying? The thing that I said, I love, how you doing, Miss Pam? I'm glad you was able to make it in here today. So like I said, so I didn't like my grandmother. Let's start off. So for her to be like the major, have a major role in my life, I didn't even like it initially. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like with discipline and all those things. You don't like it initially when God put you in discipline, but later on you come to appreciate it. So over the years, seeing where I am now and the things I've been able to do, I've definitely come to appreciate the discipline that she gave. But I didn't like it when she was young. She was just this mean old lady. You know what I'm saying? And so the thing why she's played such a pivotal role in my life, because her rule was we had a house full of people because, you know what I'm saying, one of my aunts died, so her kids were staying at the house. I had a cousin named Leo. He was staying at the house. So we had this big house, and we had like 100 people in the house. And her rule was if you stayed in the house, you went to church. You know what I'm saying? So she didn't care what time you came in from the club. She didn't care what time you came in the house. She didn't care what plans you had on Sunday. If you was in the house, you went to church on Sunday morning. So she laid the foundation. So she made me go to church every Sunday morning. I say made because I did not want to go. I hated going to church. But that was the rule. If you was in the house, you went to church every Sunday. And I got to tell another role. My uncle Sherman Hines, he played a pivotal role too because we didn't have a car, and our church was over in Mississippi. So we stayed in Memphis, but it was in Mississippi, right there, South Haven. It's kind of that area. But it wasn't far. It was right on the border of Mississippi, but still like a 45-minute drive. And then my uncle stayed in South Memphis, where we live in North Memphis. So that's another, 30, 40-minute drive. So he would drive 30, 40 minutes to pick us up, to take us to church, another 45 minutes. And he did that every single Sunday. And that's why I was able to get my foundation for God. So forever, I'm grateful to them to this day. Every time I pray for both, thank God for both of those people in my life because they were so faithful. They understood how important it was for me to have a relationship with God in my life. And they really laid the foundation for me being here with y'all today. To be honest, like I'm here because of my grandmother's answered prayers. You know what I'm saying? So that was my grandma. And, so she took care of me. And because of my mama habit, which I get into in a second, I want to get my grandma out the way first. I meant to go to her first anyway. But you know what I'm saying? So that was my grandma. She ended up raising us after a while because of my mom's habits that happened and whatnot. And so I started staying with my grandma. So she raised us and she made sure I went to school. And two things she always put in my heart and still to me, and I live by them to this day. And both of them is the reason I'm successful. Going to school and going to church. She didn't care what else you did. You was going to go to school and you're going to go to church. I can't tell you how many times she said, baby, please get your education. Please get your education. Please. Because she was worked on a farm and my grandma had like 19 kids. So she dropped out of school in like the third grade or something like that. And so she was like, please get your education. And today, guess what? Both of those things, I'm a chemist and a preacher. So both of those things that she instilled in me, what I end up becoming and has gotten me to the success that I am today, because I'm a chemist because I went to school and I'm a preacher because I got back into church after a while, which I'll tell you. So that was her thing. So she really did. And she really took care of me. And I didn't like her, but I realized what she was doing for me in my life. So it shows how God do things. So she took care of me when I was younger. Then I was about 10 years old. She started to get sick. She had diabetes and she ended up losing her sight. So every year, my grandma, she did the Thanksgiving cooking. She always did the Thanksgiving cooking. She always did the Christmas cooking. But so when she got started going blind, she couldn't cook as much. So she would need my help in the kitchen. And plus, I don't know about y'all, but man, I used to love to be able to lick the cake bowl when she would make the cakes and had the batter in the bowl and just lick the batter. So if I knew she was in there making cakes, I would hang out in the kitchen because I'm fat, as you can see. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the first one waiting for, because I ain't wanting her to put water in the bowl or get a bowl to my cousin or nothing like that. So I'm in the kitchen. And after a while, she's like, you know what? You're going to keep your fat butt in the kitchen. Then you're going to learn how to be in the kitchen and do some work. And she said, plus I'm going blind anyway. And one day you might have to do that. And that's exactly what happened. Like, when I about 11 o'clock, she went blind. So at the age of 11, I started cooking like the Thanksgiving dinners and the Christmas dinner. And I'm talking about the turkey, the dressing, the ham, the beans, the cakes, the pies, everything. I can cook everything. I can still do it to today. I just don't because I got a wife now and she does those things. You know what I'm saying? But I used to be able to get down, man. Still to this day, I can cook. You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't, like I said, my wife, she took over all that. But that was my grandma, so she told me that, and lo and behold, like right about the end of high school, her health got so bad with her diabetes that I became a caretaker. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a high school student, and I would have to get up. I had to get up. The bus came at like 6:30 or something like that. So I had to get up like 6 o'clock. But because I started to take care of my grandmother, I would have to get up at 5:30 in the morning, give her her insulin shot, measure her blood sugar, write it down, make her food for the day, and like she knew the house, so she can make her way through it. So long as I laid it out in the refrigerator and I put separate everything that she can find it. You know what I'm saying, kind of thing. So that's what I did. I had to get up and do that, and then go to school. You know what I'm saying? So so she took care of me, and then I took care of her toward the end. And like I said, I used to hate my grandmother when I was little, but this day, man, I wish, because she passed away before I got into the ministry work, and I wish I could have a conversation with her with the way I am now and just thank her for what she did. But I know me going forward doing this work, that's the best thing I can do for her, because they really honor the work that she put in with me. So that's grandmama. All right, so she's like I said, she's her and my Uncle Hein, they laid the foundation for my faith. That's why I want to start with them first. Now my mom, like I told you, my mom, she was a beautiful lady, hardworking lady, single mom of 2 kids, and man, she worked her butt off. She always had, you know what I'm saying, a job. She always we always had our own apartment. She always had her own car, but she always had a lot of dudes around too. She always, single mama thing. I always had boyfriends. Guys come around, and then now and again, you know what I'm saying, and then they leave, kind of thing. And my mom was young. She, like I said, she had me when she was 14, 15 years old. You know what I'm saying? So she was very young, and she liked to party. Now, I would say I love my mama too. Like they said, the first 8 years was great. You know what I'm saying? The first 8 years was great. And a lot of people wonder, like, how, because when I stayed in North Memphis, people didn't like going to school. Like, you go to hood kids don't like going to school, and we was no different in our neighborhood. But I was different because I love going to school. And I never understood why I love school so much. And this is something I found out a couple of years ago. So when my mama had me when she was 14, she was going to drop out of school. And she was talking to one of her professors about it, and he was like, well, why are you dropping out? And she's like, well, nobody will watch I got this kid, nobody's going to watch my kid, and I don't know what to do with him other than drop out. So the professor is like, well, does he cry a lot? She's like, no. It's like, actually, it's weird. He don't cry at all. He's like, if he does cry, that means he's hungry and need to be changed. Like, other than that, you do not hear a peep out of him. He's usually in his own little world. So the professor's like, well, I tell you what, instead of you dropping out, why don't you bring him to school with you in the morning, drop him off in my class, and I will keep him while you go to class. So for the first 2-3 years of my life, I spent my life in school. I never knew that. And she said what he would do, he would actually give me my own desk and set me up on the desk and give me like some paper and pencil as if I was a student. And I would sit there and pretend to take notes while he lectured. And he said, I never cried. And I always was literally taking notes. And I don't know if I was really writing stuff, but he said that's what I would do. And she said my first 2 years was spent in school. So now it makes sense why I love school so much. You know what I'm saying? So that was that. She did that for me, and like I said, she worked hard, and I loved her to death. And like I said, but with her boyfriends, with her being so young, she got to a point where she loved partying because she was still young. You know what I'm saying? So when I was about 8 years old, I started noticing she was with this guy, and I would come home sometimes, and I would come home early, unexpected or whatever, and she would come out the bathroom, her nose was bleeding. And I'm like, why is the nose bleeding? And, you know, we start seeing like movies like Scarface and places like that. And I'm like, man, usually this was somebody that, you know, snort cocaine. So, you know, I'm a kid, I'm mischievous. So I started looking through the house, and I would find a mirror with a razor blade on it and a little short straw. And because she would hide, you know how you got your little cabinet where your medicine and all that stuff is in the bathroom? She would hide it on top of there. And I cleaned on, of course, kids, we go everywhere. So I climbed up there, and one day I found her mirror, and it had a razor and a straw on it. So this guy she was with got her onto cocaine. You know what I'm saying? So this when I was about 8. It still didn't get bad then. It was still kind of okay. But then that was right before crack. You know, I was born in 79, and the crack epidemic hit Memphis around 88. That's about the time I was 8 years old. So she went from cocaine to crack, and that's when everything changed. That's when everything went haywire. And it started off, man, she wouldn't show up to the house. Like, so we ended up moving back to that's how we ended up moving back to my grandmother. So we moved back to my grandmother, moved back in with my grandmother, and then I would go like days, and I wouldn't even see my mama. Like, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like days. She'd just be gone. We can't find her. No, they didn't have cell phones, so it wasn't no calling. And she would just basically abandon us for days. You know what I'm saying? And it just kept getting progressively worse. So she went from being this beautiful woman. I saw her health start to decline. She lost a lot of weight. She used to always be able to keep a job. She couldn't keep a job no more. So we would move somewhere, and we'll be there maybe a month or two until she couldn't pay the rent, and then we end up moving back to grandma. So it was a constant. We'll move out to grandma's house, have our own place, stay there about 2-3 months, move back to grandma, move back to, you know what I'm saying? And it was just constant back and forth. And then it got to a point when I was around 10, it got so bad, she didn't even have the capability of getting another place. You know what I'm saying? She had to go. We just ended up staying with grandma, and that's how I ended up being with grandma. And as her health declined, like I said, she declined. She couldn't keep a job, so in order to keep to pay for her habit, she started, you know what I'm saying, prostituting. So she ended up becoming the neighborhood prostitute. You know, and not only was she prostitute because she couldn't keep a job, she got on welfare and food stamp. So you know what I'm saying. But the thing was, when the welfare and food stamp came in, she didn't use it to buy us food or to buy us clothes. She went to buy her drugs. So, you know what I'm saying? So if the food stamp was $300, she maybe spent $20, $25, $50 on food only because my grandma made her to, you know what I'm saying? And then she would go off and she would sell the rest of her food stamp to the dope boys, you know what I'm saying? Or when the welfare check came in, she might give me and my brother $5 and then the rest of it went to a dope, either to buy new dope or to pay off her debt, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. So we never had money. So I was the poor. So we was in North Memphis. We was in a poor neighborhood. I was the poor kid in the poor neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So that made it worse. So, you know, people were making fun of people about being poor. You know what I'm saying? They're like, you poor too. But like, we ain't as poor as you, you know? So that was the kind of thing. So that was rough. And because of what she chose to do, I had to deal with a lot of trauma. Because of that, you know what I'm saying? I remember one time, there was a raid, a police raid. They ran up on some dope boys and my mom was in the area. I don't know if she was about to buy dope or whatever, but she was in the area and, police ran up on these dope boys and these dope boys, don't toss their dope or whatever, cause that's what they do. So the police can't, you know, charge them with it if they don't catch it on them. Well, when they went back to find their dope, they couldn't find the dope. So they assumed since my mom was there that she did it. So the dude, one of the dope boys, approached her and confronted her about it. And she was like, man, I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't got your dope. And you know what I'm saying? He had a 40-ounce bar in his hand and he just smacked her in her face with a 40-ounce bottle. You know what I'm saying? So all I see her teeth and just blood just flying everywhere. And I'm a kid. You know, I can't do nothing. Like I want to, because I wholeheartedly love my mama. You know what I'm saying? And I loved her so poor. When I saw her going down this road, I remember writing her letters and writing her poems, just begging her to stop doing what she was doing. But I never could get through to her. And I just couldn't understand how could she have so much love for me at some point, and now this thing has came in and completely taken over. Like I never understood I understand it now, but I was a kid and I didn't understand, because I thought, man, if she get my poem and she see how much it's hurt me, maybe it'll change her. And she never did, because she was that far gone. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, she was a neighborhood prostitute. I had to deal with that. You know, the trauma was there, because in Memphis you got to be able to snap. You got to be able to talk about people. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to defend yourself. And especially me, I was a big black dude. You know what I'm saying? So I need to be able to defend myself. So I got pretty good at snapping on folks. Like, you come to me, you better come with some stuff. You know what I'm saying? But they always had a trump card on me, because like when I get to getting on them and they was losing, they would say, that's all right. That's why I had your mama last night for $5. And it always broke my heart, because I knew it was actually a possibility. Now, 9 times out of 10, they didn't. But the fact that it was a possibility that they could have always broke me. You know what I'm saying? So that was something I always had to deal with my whole life. There was another situation with her where this dude beat her with a wooden cane. I'm talking about like beat her, like, you know what I'm saying, like a dog or something. And all I can do is sit there and watch. You know what I'm saying? And it may be why I'm so protective of people, because I wanted to be able to do something, but I couldn't do nothing as a kid. And I mean, I remember it's so vivid. It's weird when you go through these kind of things, because it's so vivid. I remember when he was beating her with the cane, he hit her so hard that it splintered. You know what I'm saying? And a piece of the wood, as it splintered, popped off and like hit me in the face. You know what I'm saying? That's with force. That's how much he was hitting her, and I couldn't do nothing about it. And that day when she did that, she left the house and never came back to the house again. You know what I'm saying? Because the person was actually a relative of mine. You know what I'm saying? So that happened, and then another story that happened. That almost got me killed. So I had went off my first year of college, and I'm giving you so you understand my mom and kind of what I went through. So I went off my first year of college, and I came home. It was about to be my second year of college, and I was getting ready to leave. I was 2 weeks before heading back to because I went to TSU, and the first couple of years of TSU, I just went there and stayed in dorms, and then I came home. And so this year I had one of those years I came home. And it was a situation. So I was working this job, and we had on Thursdays where we would go and we would have an employee meal, and each person can cook the meal. So it was my day to cook the meal, or whatever, the employee meal, because I worked at a restaurant. And so I was getting ready to go, but I wanted, like I said, I was my grandmother's caregiver, and I knew I was going to be gone a little longer than normal today. So I wanted my cousin to check on my grandma. So I went to let my cousin know, like my cousin Leo, like, hey Leo, just let you know, I got to work a little extra today. Please check on grandma, make sure you get her food and all that stuff. So I'm getting ready to leave. And there was in our neighborhood, it was a bakery, and my Uncle Leo, he basically ran the bakery. Now he ran the block. You know what I'm saying? My Uncle Leo ran the block, like that was his block that we stayed on or whatever. And then he ended up moving away, and you know what I'm saying? He ended up having that block where the bakery was at. And I think he did most of his dealings at the bakery. So he was like, hey, your mama's at the bakery. She said you need to come here. So I'm like, for what? He's like, well, I'm like, man, I gotta go to work. He's like, well, she said it's an emergency. So I'm like, all right. So I go over to the bakery, and my mom runs out of the bakery and jumps in the car, and she's bloody. Like her knees are bloody, her lip is bloody. I'm like, what is going on? And she's like, oh man, these guys are trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me. We need to go. I'm like, what do you got involved in? What do you mean? She said, they're trying to kill me. We need to go. So she said, it's some guy. And I'm thinking, because by this time, she had been so far gone, she would come with these far-fetched stories, like somebody has kidnapped her, and we got to get them $50 to give her back. You know what I'm saying? To get money. So I'm thinking it's this same kind of scheme going on. And but she's like, no, it's some guys, and they riding around in a station wagon, and they trying to kill me. So I'm like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So next thing you know, I see these guys in the station wagon. Like, it's like 8 guys instead, and they pass my car. So I'm like, oh crap, she's not lying. Now I forgot to tell you this. So what happened was the night before. What happened was, so the night before, I forgot to turn this part. So the night before this happened, all this happened, I was asleep in my room. So I had my own room at the back of the house, and I was asleep. And I heard my grandmother came, because she stayed in the front of the house, and she was blind. So it took her a minute to get through the house, I guess. And she came beating on my door. And like, what's going on, Grandma? She said, hey, there's somebody knocking on this door, and I don't know who it is. I need you to get up and see who it is, let them in, or see who it is or whatever. So I'm sleeping. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So I go over to the door to open up the door, and I go open up the door. There's nobody there, but it's a bloody handprint on the door and a bloody shoe. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? You know what I'm saying? It's this bloody shoe on the door, on the ground, on our porch, and there's a bloody handprint on the door, but there's nobody there. So, you know what I'm saying? And I think right when I got there, I heard the guy saying help. But like I said, by the time I got there, I guess he ran off. So I don't know what's going on. I'm a kid, you know what I'm saying? I'm a teenager this time. I don't know what's going on. I didn't see nobody there, so I just went back to bed. So about 2 hours later, I get a knock on my door again, and it's the police. And you know what I'm saying? It's like 2 police officers. I'm like, man, what the heck is going on? So they're like, young man, we need to talk to you about what you saw last night. She's like, who was the guy you saw last night? I said, well, I didn't see no guy. I said, somebody knocked on the door. I didn't open the door because, well, by the time I got to the open door, they was gone. I said, but I did see a bloody handprint and a bloody handprint on my door and a bloody shoe on the ground or whatever, which I thought was weird. And I'm like, well, why are you asking? He said, well, that man died. So apparently what happened was he was trying to hook up some girl, and the girl set him up to get robbed. And when the people robbed him, they stabbed him, and he ended up dying. So when he came to our house, he was looking for help. Now, a lot of people assume since he came to our house, it must have been my mama he was with. Now, the reason why it could have been, But the thing is, where I lived in North Memphis, it was like a war zone. Like we had like the only house literally for like a half a block because all the other houses was either tore down or abandoned. So we was the only one that had a house that people were living in for like a half a block. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, well, he just came to our house because it's the only one there. But they were saying, well, no, that we believe your mom was with him. Have you seen her? I haven't seen her. So now fast forward to the next day, she jumped in his car. She got this blood all over. And I'm like, what's going on? She's like, these guys are trying to kill me. I see the station wagon go by full of guys. So I'm like, oh, crap. Like, she's telling the truth. So I'm like, well, let me go check on my grandma to make sure my grandmother, they didn't do nothing to my grandma because they know everybody knew who my mother was and they knew where we lived. So I'm like, well, let me go check on my grandma. So I go back to check on my grandma and to make sure that they didn't go to the house and she was fine. They hadn't been to the house. But as I'm getting ready to pull off and leave, this station wagon pulls up. So I'm sitting there and these 8 guys jump out the car, look like they had a shotgun or something like that, and they walk into my door. So they didn't see us in the car. So I waited for them to pass the car and get up on my porch, and right when they got ready to knock on the door, I crunk up my car and I just took off. Now at the time I had this 82 box Chevy. You anybody from Memphis, you know that was our thing, and that's what I had, an 82 box Chevy. But the camshaft on it was going bad, so it wouldn't pick up speed. If you know anything about motor, you know that's not good. So it wouldn't pick up speed. You know what I'm saying? So I got this 82 Chevy, and I just hit the gas. And I'm trying to go, but I can't. So the guys realize it's me and my mom in the car, so they start chasing us. So I'm literally on a high-speed chase, something like in a movie scene, on a high-speed chase through North Memphis. So my mama, my Uncle Han that I told you about earlier, he stayed in South Memphis, and sometimes she would stay with him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, she's like, just get me to Uncle Han's house, and I'll be okay. And my Uncle Han, he was an old war veteran, so he had guns and stuff like that. So she's like, if you just give me to Uncle Han's house, we'll be okay. So I'm going this high-speed chase, so we don't stay far from the interstate. So like, maybe I can lose him on the interstate. But my car's slow. It wouldn't go past 50 because of the camshaft and whatnot. So we on this high speed chase going through the darn interstate and all that, and these guys are like still on my tail. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't shake them because my car wasn't fast enough. So finally, when we got off the interstate over in South Memphis, it just so happened they had to wait. They had to yield for some cars. So it was like 2 or 3 cars that got between us and me and them. So I'm in traffic. I'm sitting at the light, but it was a green light. So by the grace of God, I was the first one in line, but I was in the middle lane. So you had a lane to the right, a lane to the left. I was in the middle lane, and the traffic was going this way, and I was supposed to be going this way because I had to know at the red light. So I'm looking in my mirror, seeing if I can get away from these guys, you know what I'm saying? And they hop out the car. In the middle of traffic, they hop out their car, and they run into my car. And again, they got something in their hand that look like a sawed-off shotgun. So I'm like, oh my goodness, they about to kill us right here. You know what I'm saying? Because Memphis folks got down like that. So I just, even though the traffic was coming, it was like one little break. Again, by the grace of God, it was just enough of a break where I just hit my gas and I just turned right. And instead of trying to go across, I just hit the gas and I made a hard right turn. And you know what I'm saying? And right as I pulled off, those guys, they was right at my trunk. And what they had, it wasn't a shotgun, it was actually a long pipe. And they swung the pipe, or they might have been a shotgun, but whatever it was, they swung it and it hit my trunk and it made a dent in my trunk. You know what I'm saying? So they was about to come and snatch us out of the car right there in the middle of traffic and kill us right then and there. But I made that turn, and since they were stuck back and the light hadn't went yet, they couldn't chase me no more. So I weaved through South Memphis. I don't know South Memphis. I'm from North Memphis. I'm weaving through South Memphis, finally get to my uncle's house, drop her off. So now I'm worried. I'm like, oh crap, what if they go back to the house? Let me go. And I went to my cousin Leo, because like I said, he ran the block. So I went to Leo like, hey, I got to go to work. This is what just happened. These dudes are chasing us. They looking for my mama, trying to kill her for whatever reason. I said, man, just please go down to the house and check on grandma. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm talking to my cousin Leo, the car pulled up. Like, so I guess they knew I was going to be back in the air, so the car pulls up. So my cousin Leo, like I said, he the dude on the block, so he's like, hey, just stay here and I'm going to go straighten this out. So he goes around the corner, and next thing you know, I hear bushes and stuff rustling. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what's going on? They beating up my cousin Leo, which is amazing to me because they knew how he got down, like this bona fide gangster. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't care. They beat him up. You know what I'm saying? So his crew run around, and it's like this battle royale out there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm scared because I'm telling y'all, I'm from Memphis, but I wasn't a street dude. I've never tried to be gangster. You know what I'm saying? I was in the hood dude. Like everybody in my house, you know, I always like to tell people that everybody in my house, they was on drugs, sold drugs, was in the gangs, ran the block, you know what I'm saying? Rapists and murderers. That's what I was raised around. That's what I was raised with. You know what I'm saying? I always like to say I was like a sheep among wolves kind of thing. But that wasn't my life. I loved going to school. I was a Boy Scout. You know what I'm saying? I went to the community center, played ball, football, and all that. I was always active, so I didn't get in the street. So I was a hood dude, but I wasn't a hood dude, if you know what I mean. So that ain't I'm not from the streets like that. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So finally, this group of dudes come around. It's like 6, 7 dudes. They come around and like, what is nigga that had this car? So I'm standing there by my car because my uncle told me to stand. Like, man, I'm here. Then like, man, where that B word that was in that car with you? So now I'm like, hold on, because like I said, I love my mama. Even though she did what she did, I love my mama. I said, first of all, you ain't gonna disrespect my mama like that, bro. I said, that was my mama. Like, well, where's she at? You know what I'm saying? She had her uncle killed. She got her uncle killed last night. I said, man, I told my mom. She said she ain't had nothing to do. Man, that B word lying. So we know, so it's getting heated. And I'm trying to keep a calm head because it's 6 of them and just one of me. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, I'm not that street dude like that. So I'm talking to the dude, and at one point I like, look her, man. I said, bro, my mama said she had nothing to do with it. I believe her. I said, man, I'm not with all this street stuff. I said, bro, I'm a college student. I just tried to appeal to her, like, bro, I'm a college student. And I just want to I said, I got 2 weeks to go back to school, man. And I'm praying that I'm going to be able to make it back to school. And this don't look good for me. You know what I'm saying? So one of the dudes, he said, man, you go to college? I said, yeah. He said, where you go? I said, TSU. So I'm like, yes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking to him, and they like, oh, man, well, we just, you know what I'm saying? And then it's always got to be one in the group. So this one dude, he's like, man, F all that. And man, he just came across and hit me in the face. Back up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, now I got to do this. So I had enough wisdom. So by this time I had got to the point where my uncle, he stayed in an apartment. So I got to where my back was against the wall and my uncle's car was in front of me. So I had my back covered and my front covered so they can only come from the side. So it kind of gave me a little bit of an advantage because they couldn't all rush me at once. So I'm like, this is how I'm doing. I got my head down. I'm just like doing like this, fighting with dudes and whatever. Then my cousin had I'll call him my uncle. He's more like an uncle than a cousin. But he had some plastic chairs, and I picked them up hoping to do something, but they were just flimsy or whatever. So we fighting, and then they managed to push me out of my safe place. So they managed to push me to where I was out in the open. So now I'm just completely exposed. And then at one point, the same guy that hit me in the face to start the whole mess, he had a brick in his hand. So I'm fighting. I'm not looking because my head is down. I'm just swinging. I'm just trying not to hit the ground. If you hit the ground, anybody know if you ever been to scuffle, especially in Memphis, you hit the ground, that's it. You over. So my main goal was like, do not hit the ground. Do what you can to stay on your feet. So I'm just swinging. I got my head down. I don't even know what I'm hitting, who I'm hitting. I'm just swinging. And then I just happen to open my eyes up, and this guy got this brick, and he coming with this brick from like here. So he got this brick here, and he's getting ready to come right like this. And right as he did that, my uncle's friend just happened to come around the corner and saw him and ripped the brick out of his hand. Like he was literally coming down like this, and my uncle's friend ripped the brick out of his hand. And had he not did that, I wouldn't be here talking to y'all today because he was coming right across my head because I didn't even see it because I was so busy fighting with the other dude. So literally when he ripped that brick out of his hand, the police pull up. You know what I'm saying? So the police pull up and they're like, what's going on here? And so by this time, my cousin, he had got into his apartment and got his gun. So he was just about to like let it go. He was about to shoot all of them. You know what I'm saying? But literally, as he walked out with his gun, the police pulled up. So he just kind of threw it back in the house real quick. So when they walked up, now my cousin, like I said, he's real OG. He don't deal with the police. He don't do that snitching. Not like these kids these days. So when they pulled up, my cousin like, man, what's the problem, officer? Like, man, we heard this disturbance over here, and you know what's going on. And so I'm sitting there, and my face is swollen, my eye, so my nose is bleeding, my lip is like this big, you know what I'm saying? My work shirt, because I had my work clothes on, it's ripped all off of me, and I'm sitting there, obviously been got the crap beat out of me, you know what I'm saying? So they like, what's going on? Why does this young man look like this? And my cousin like, oh, no problem, officer. We just had a little disagreement. That's all it was. He said, it looked like more than disagreement. He said, young man, come here. And he said, did these people attack you? So I don't know what to do. Again, I'm not this street dude. So I'm like, they obviously attacked me. I should tell the officer this. But I looked at my cousin, and it was like in a movie. He looked at me, he said, so I looked back at the officer. I said, no, sir. I said, honestly, man, I was just standing here minding my own business. Somebody pulled my shirt over my head, and I don't know what happened after that. I couldn't tell you who hit me. He said, you sure it ain't these dudes? He said, now you got to be sure. He said, because if you don't say it's them, I got to let them go. He said, so now this your only chance. He said, because they like 9 times out of 10, they're going to come back and finish the job. Did these guys attack you? So I looked over at the dudes, and they was just like, man, don't snitch on us, bruh. So I was like, man, officer, honestly, I don't know who did that. He said, all right, man, y'all can go. So the main dude that started out looked at me and was like, You know what I'm saying? Gave me like a respect kind of thing. So they didn't mess with me no more. You know, and I actually saw them a little bit later on that evening, and they just gave me respect because I didn't snitch on them. Cause I really could have sent them all to jail. And I'm pretty sure they had like guns and stuff in the car. So I almost died because of something that she was involved in. You know what I'm saying? And another thing about her, and I don't want to just down on them, I just want to kind of give y'all my background before I jump into my story and tell you so you can see how miraculous it was what God did for me and why I love the Lord so much. So another thing about my mom, like, and it was the same with my dad. I'm gonna get to my dad, trust me. So same with my dad, like it was weird. I was the young person. I was the child, but they always asked me for money because I always had money. I was a hustler. You know what I'm saying? So before I could work, what I would do, the old ladies, they was afraid to walk around the neighborhood because the neighborhood was so bad. So my grandma was like a distribution hood. So the old ladies would call her and like, hey, I need something from the store. So she would send me, so I would go and shop for the old ladies. They would give me their list and give me their money. And nobody messed with me in the neighborhood. And that's the one thing, you know what I'm saying? As bad as North Memphis was, it was a lot of love there. And all the drug dealers respected me because I didn't try to be a street dude. You know what I'm saying? They respect me because I love going to school. And matter of fact, that's one of the ways I made money. When I got my report card, I would go to all the drug dealers and take them my report card, and they would give me money for my report card. Like each one of them, like is like a $5 for every A. You know what I'm saying? Like $3 for a B, $2 for a C, and then they give me a funky look. It was a D, but I never had a D. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I made money. So every single time my report card come, I was ready for it because I knew I was gonna get paid that day. So nobody messed with me in the neighborhood. Like it was like hey, leave John alone. He's not out in these streets. Then, you know what I'm saying? He's not a part of this. Leave him alone. So nobody messed with me in the neighborhood. I actually had a lot of respect for being smart, even though the situation I was in. So that's why the ladies chose me, because I can go back and forth to the streets and stuff like that, and nobody would mess with me. So that's what I would do. I would cut their grass. I would go grocery shopping for them. So I always had money, and my mom and dad knew that, so they would take my money from me. You know what I'm saying? Like if my dad knew I had money, they would take it. So if I was going somewhere, cause like I said, my dad he literally never came to my house, and he hung out a block from where I stayed. So it was two stores, major stores in our neighborhood. It was one called Mulgary's, it was one called Johnson's, and he hung out outside of Johnson every single day. If I wanted to see him, I knew exactly where he was at. It was a block away from me. He never came and visited me. But if he saw me out with my friends or something like that, hey, come here, boy, you got some money on it. He'd just start going in my pockets. You know what I'm saying? So if I saw him, I would have to like hide and stick my money in my underwear real quick to keep him from getting it. You know what I'm saying? And then like what I was saying was my mama, like if she knew I had money, like when I would go to sleep at night, I had a certain place to keep my money. If she knew I had money when I went to sleep, she would go and steal my money. So I couldn't even lay like I know a lot of people, y'all like, that's crazy. Like a lot of people, I've seen it, and it always boggles my mind. You know, they're walking their house and they throw their wallet on the thing and throw their money in chain. I couldn't do that where I was at. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't leave money out. If you left some money out, it would be, if you put some money on the desk, on your dresser, and you went to the bathroom, by the time you came back, it would be gone. And nobody knew who got it. It happens also. So when I had money, I literally had to sleep with my money in my underwear under my balls. And you know how uncomfortable that is? That dollar bill cutting into my balls all night, you know what I'm saying? But that's the only way I can keep my money. It was a couple of times that even with my money in my underwear, my mama still stole it. You know what I'm saying? So that was her. So I had to see her. And that was so traumatic to me because I had to see her go from that beautiful, hardworking lady to this thing that I couldn't even trust. I couldn't even sleep in peace because, you know what I'm saying, if she was around, she was most likely going to take what little I had. And then, like I said, by this time, she had got real bad. And after the situation that she got into with my uncle, she didn't come to the house anyway. So I never saw my mom. Like for years, I didn't even see her. You know what I'm saying? Because she refused to come back to North Memphis. And then after that, the situation happened, like I said, with the guys, she just left North Memphis altogether. So I didn't see her. She did, to this day, that happened about 30 years ago. To this day, she has not been back to North Memphis once. I don't think since that day happened, you know, because she's still scared about that thing. So that's my mama. So you heard my grandma laid the foundation, got me, you know what I'm saying, got me on my guard tip, even though I hated it. My mama loved her, start off a beautiful, hardworking woman, but when she got on that crack, it just took her away. I just watched her waste away. You know what I'm saying? So then you got my dad, you know what I'm saying, which I brought him up, I don't know what to say, just typical, stereotypical hood dad, you know, had the baby and didn't do nothing for him. You know what I'm saying? The only thing he did for me that I really appreciate, because he was like, oh man, you're going to be an NFL star. You're going to be a football star, blah, blah, blah. So when I was like 8 years old, he put me in weight training. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like in the third grade, bench pressing like 150 pounds. So I do appreciate that because you can see I still got this build now. You know what I'm saying? That started when I was 8. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it made me huge as hell. So I couldn't get no girlfriend because I was way too big. I was so big, you know what I'm saying? I was bigger than other kids. So that's the one thing he did do for me, but he never really did anything for me. Nell was around. I don't have a lot of stories about him, but the one story I tell you, and I've shared it before because I've shared my testimony before, but it just kind of show you his character. So he was on that stuff as well. So like I said, I'm in high school, I'm playing football, I'm running track, I'm wrestling, I'm working. I was basically working a full-time job since I was 16 because we had a job at this place called Folks Farley washing dishes or whatnot. So I'm talking about, and then I still had to take care of my grandmother. So I was literally getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and doing all my stuff for my grandma, getting ready, doing homework if I had homework because I didn't get to do it because I got to work. And then I wouldn't get home. I would get home like 12 o'clock at night. So I really slept, and then when I got home, I had to take my bath, and if I had homework, maybe try to do it if I wasn't too sleepy. So I slept like 3-4 hours a day, you know what I'm saying, as a kid or whatever. So they went on, and it was just wearing me out. So finally, when I got a job, I started saving money because one of the things that made made me lose a lot of time was I had to catch the bus. And where I worked at was out in East Memphis, which is about an hour drive if you get on the bus. But if you have your own car, you can get out there in like 30 minutes. So I'm like, man, if I can get me a car, I can save like an hour out of my day and give me an extra hour of sleep. So I started working my butt off to save for me a car, and I had like about $500 or $600 saved up. So then somehow my dad got wind of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who told him, but somehow he got wind of it. And he approached me one day, and he got this tall, skinny white dude with him. And I was a kid then, I didn't know it, but he definitely like gave me crack vibes. You know what I'm saying? He was definitely like this creepy dude because he wasn't really talking or whatnot. So he come to me like, hey, I heard you saving up for a car. He's like, man, how much you got? And of course, I'm going to tell him because I know he's just going to ask for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I'm not telling you that. And he's like, I'm like, why you asking? He's like, man, because we got a car that my buddy here trying to sell. And I said, well, how much is it? He said, how much you got? So I was like, man, let me see. Cause I'm thinking they BSing. So they throw me the keys. Now, this was about 96. It was a 1991 Buick Skylark. I never forget it. It was a 1991 Buick Skylark. And, man, it looked like it was brand new. I'm talking about nice, clean. It didn't even like it had been driven before. And I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah. He said, I'm like, man, how much you want for it? He said, how much you got? I said, man, I got like $500-$600. He said, man, that'll do. And I'm like, really? Yeah. So I give them the money. They give me the keys. You know what I'm saying? Let me take it around the block and everything. So I come back. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm like, man, I can't wait to roll to school tomorrow. And yes, everybody going to be jealous. You know what I'm saying? But he's like, hold on. No, don't take it. Don't drive it just yet. He said, for right now, just park it in the backyard and just keep it there because we got to get the title and stuff cleared. So don't drive it. Just keep it in the backyard. I'm like, well, man, I want to. He said, just keep it in the backyard. I said, all right. So I'm a teenager, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get in these streets. I'm not to have a car. Now, I went for like 2 or 3 days. And then one day I woke up late and I had to get my grandma's stuff together, so I missed the bus. So I'm like, forget that. I'm taking my car. So, man, I get in the car and I pull up to school. And of course, it was just like I wanted. Everybody was all jealous because I had this nice car and everything. It was far, you know what I'm saying? Then my cousin Chad, you know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, bro, we got to go ride. So, man, we have a ball, man. We go for the next like 2 weeks. We all over Memphis in the car. I'm everywhere. I'm at the mall. I'm at work. I'm just living the life. You know what I'm saying? But I go back to my dad like, hey, man, it's been like 3 weeks. Where's the title at? And every time I went to ask him about the title, he always made some excuse. You know what I'm saying? So I started like, something fishy here. So I was like, well, let me do some research myself. So I started going through the car, and there was nothing. Like, it was completely wiped clean. There was no papers or nothing in there. Nothing about, like, no kind of vehicle registration, none of that. But I did find like one receipt from like a cleaners, and it had a lady's name on it. And now, you know, this is back in the early 90s. I mean, or late 90s, we had phone books. We didn't have Google and all that stuff. You had a phone book, and you got your phone book, and you went, you know what I'm saying, and looked up a person's name. You can find everybody, because everybody's number was in the phone book. So I get the phone book, and I look up this lady's name. I get in the phone book, and I found her in the phone book. So I call her, and you know what I'm saying, I called her, and when I called her, it's this old white lady, and I'm talking to her. I said, ma'am, she's like, who is this? I'm like, ma'am, I'm calling because I'm like, do you have a 91 Buick Skylark? She said, well, I had one. She said, but my son, he's bad on them drugs, and he stole it, and I haven't seen it in probably 2 or 3 weeks. And that broke my heart. I said, ma'am, I think I got your car. And she's like, really? She's like, how'd you get it? I said, man, your son sold it to me like, you know, a couple of weeks ago or whatever. She said, oh, I'm so sorry, baby. She said, but man, I haven't been able to get around, get to my doctor's appointment. She's like, it'll really bless my heart. You can bring my car back. I said, ma'am, I'll bring your car back. So I was going to take it back, but my grandma got it. She said, boy, you ain't taking that car back. Like, they mess around and get caught in there, you going to jail because they're going to think you stole it. She said, you better call the police and have them come get it. And that's what I did. So I called the police, and the police came and picked the car up. You know what I'm saying? And I never forget it because the detective who came and got it, he said, young man, let me let you know something. He said, you have restored my faith in the youth of this city. He said, because he said, I was just, the stuff I've seen them do over the years, he said, man, I was just convinced that there was no good left in any of them. And the fact that you was do this, knowing that you're not going to be able to get your money back, he's like, that really touches my heart. He said, man, I pray there's a bright future for you. That's what he told. I never forget that. And I hope, I don't know if he's still alive or dead, but I hope he's knowing, yes, it worked out. You know what I'm saying? But so I lost that money, and I didn't see my dad again for like a year or so, maybe even more. Like, he didn't even hang around a little spot close to the neighborhood no more. You know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of stuff. Like, so a man that would do that to his own kid, that kind of gives you the background of him. So he never did nothing for my life and me in my life. Even like older, when he got older, he had got some money from some kind of settlement or something, and I thought he'd break me off. And you know, because I would need some money at the time. I was still in college, and you know what he told me? Man, you better go get you a pack. Go sell you some dope. You know what I'm saying? Get you a pack. I give you the money, get you a pack, and you can multiply. And I was like, what kind of advice is that to give your kid that's trying to do good? You know what I'm saying? So that was him. You know what I'm saying? And then the last main character is my younger brother. I got a brother, like I said earlier, that was 5 years younger than me. And, you know what I'm saying? We had same mom, different dad. And my mom at one point had got so bad that his dad got custody of him. So his dad, you know what I'm saying, took him away, you know, they wouldn't live with his dad. And we was always close because I always had to protect him. Because there was days my mama, she'll take us to a house, you know, a drug house or whatever, and just leave us there. You know what I'm saying? So we wake up thinking, you know what I'm saying, like, what mama at? And there's some creepy dude over in the corner staring on us. So I had to keep dudes up off of us, you know what I'm saying? Because we these two kids in this random house don't know where we at kind of thing. So we was always close because I was always like his protector, and I had to cook for him, make sure he had his clothes clean and all that stuff because my mama didn't do it. I had to do it for him as well. You know what I'm saying? So we always had this close relationship. So when he went off to his dad, it kind of broke my heart, but we always stayed in touch. And he gonna come back into the store a little later. So that was it, man. As far as the characters, those are the people that raised me. Like I said, everybody in my house was on drugs, selling drugs, drug dealers, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They did it all. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of thing. So a little bit, because I want to move to the story, but I got a cousin named Oliver. We call him Goody. He watched my testimony one time. He said, boy, you don't do enough of laying down the foundation to let them know what you went through. He said they need to know their stuff because people going through those same things. He said they didn't know how broke you was. You know, you don't forget that. So that's why I'm laying this little foundation before I get into the story. So that's basically the character. That's what my life was like. You can imagine what that was like. Like I said, my mama never got us clothes or anything. So if you see me to this day, and I'm traumatized by it, you know, it's some things I tell you about me, and you'll see it's true. If you see me to this day, I only wear black shoes. I got a pair of white shoes, and the only reason I'm wearing them because my daughter painted part of them black, and she painted crosses on them. You know what I'm saying? So she painted crosses on them. So that's why those are my soul winning shoes. So they some white Air Force Ones. But other than that, I've only wore black shoes my whole life. And the reason why is because we will only get one pair of shoes for the entire school year. And if you got them white shoes, you know, they get mad, they get dirty, and they look horrible. But if you get black shoes, all you got to do is wipe them off. You can never tell that they was old because all you had to do was wipe them off because they don't fade and nothing like that. So to this day, I only wear black shoes. You know what I'm saying? So then the house we lived in, like I said, it was like 8 or 9 of us in living in that house. And again, my cousin, she's still on her. I'm glad you're with me, because you can verify everything I'm saying. So this house, man, it was horrible. Like, it had holes in the wall. It had holes in the floor. You had to watch where you step, or you'll step through a hole in the floor and go straight. So, because it was an old house, so it set up like 3-4 feet off the ground. So if you step through the floor, you was going through, you're going to hit the ground. We had roaches everywhere. We had rats everywhere. I mean, it was infesting with rats and roaches. You know what I'm saying? We had one room where my cousin Leo used to live, and then my mama lived, but then it was like the roof was caved in so bad on it that when it rained, you couldn't go in the room because it'd be raining harder in the room than it would be outside because all the water was just draining into these holes in the roof. So we actually couldn't go in that room because it was so bad. You know what I'm saying? And the roaches was so bad, bro. Like, you know how you get up in the middle of the night and you go get a glass of water? The roaches were so bad that you would have to go and cut the kitchen light on and wait for like 5 minutes for all the roaches to clear because they completely covered everything. It literally looked like the furniture was getting up moving, but it was just all the roaches going to hide because you cut the light off. So you would have to wait 5 minutes and then go in there and then grab some, wash it off. You had to wash a utensil every time you use it because the roaches crawled all over it, and then you can get some water. Like, that's how bad they was. There was rats everywhere. And it was one time I even opened up the drawers, a darn possum in the drawer. I'm like, what the hell is this? I had never seen a possum before. And I opened the drawer up and said, I said, not today. Not today, Satan. I just closed that drawer. I never went back in that drawer again. That was that possum's drawer. You know what I'm saying? So that was the living conditions what I lived in. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, house was about like, it was literally being held up by like 2x4s and plastic tarps to try to keep the rain out. So that was the house I lived in. And like I said, everybody in the house was like murderers and rapists. And like I said, I was a sheep among wolves kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So that was the background. So I was a poor kid in the poor neighborhood. I saw so much trauma. I saw so much of the ugly side of this world. And the last thing I tell you about my childhood, but it's really significant, and then I move on to get into how everything kind of came about with God. So the other thing, that the traumatic thing that happened to me the most for my childhood was I had an uncle on my dad's side that was my favorite uncle. You know what I'm saying? Well, he was either uncle or cousin. And then I had a cousin on my mom's side that moved down to live with us from Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? And from the age of about 4 to 10, they were both molesting me the whole for 6 years. And I'm not saying molestation because it sounds easier, but I was being raped. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't even like it was every once in a while. It was like every other day kind of thing for years. And it was so traumatic that I didn't even recognize it, because I was seeing, like, we'd be in school and they used to play these ads like, hey, if somebody touch you, then you need to let somebody know. But the problem was with these ads, they already made it seem like it was strangers. It's the creepy dude down the road you need to watch. When in reality, it's the people that's close to you. It's your family members that's going to do the molestation. It's the friend of the family that the family let stay over at the house all the time and let be around the kids. Those are the ones going to molest you. You might get a creepy dude down the street, but the kid got to be able to trust you for you allow them to do their things to you. So it's the people that you trust the most is going to do it. So it never clicked with me, because it was never the creepy dude down the street. It was my cousins that was doing it. So I was being raped for 6 years, you know what I'm saying, all the time. And I'm still traumatized by that. You know what I'm saying? That right there is what's going to end up leading me away from God, which I get to in a second. So I had that going on. I had the molestation going on. I'm in this roach infested house. Like I said, to this day, another thing about me from the trauma from the roaches, like, if you ever see me put on my shoes, I only wear black shoes. And if you see me put on my shoes, I always hit the heels of them first before I put them on. And the reason why is because the roaches would like that when you sleep at night, the roaches would go into your shoes. So if you didn't hit the heels of your shoes, you'll go to school and you got roaches pouring out of your shoes. Now, everybody had roaches that lived in the hood, but it's one thing to have them and everybody know you got them. It's another thing to see them. You know what I'm saying? So, you get clowned if you go there and roaches climbing out of the shoes. So to this day, I do not put my shoes on, even though I don't have roaches nowhere near, but I am in the country. We got spiders and all kind of other stuff. But to this day, I don't put my shoes on without hitting the heel of my shoes first and make sure there's no roaches in there. You know what I'm saying? That's been my entire life. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, and I told her last month, but I just want to know how traumatized I was. So another thing was, I used to love cereal. And that's the one thing, whenever my mom got a food stamp, first she would buy like 2-3 boxes of cereal because we love cereal, but that's it. But I never would. The roaches were so bad, they always got into the cereal. We didn't have like plastic containers, and now we just roll the bag up and hope we roll it tight enough to keep the roaches out. But they always got in there. You know what I'm saying? So I was an adult. I was a grown man in college before I ate Rice Krispies. And the reason being is because I don't know if you ever seen a roach egg or a roach layer egg or the egg when it hatches, but a hatched roach egg look just like Rice Krispies. So since every time we open up the cereal, we had to clear the roaches out. If they was in the Rice Krispies, even though you got the roaches out, which you can obviously see the roaches, you didn't know if it was Rice Krispies or it was roach eggs that hatched in the cereal. So I would not eat Rice Krispies until I was in college before I finally realized, like, hey, this ain't no Memphis. You okay to eat Rice Krispies. But I did not eat Rice Krispies until I was a grown man because I was so traumatized by that. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of the life. And like I said, I was so poor. I had to wear my uncle's clothes. Matter of fact, I got to mess with your dad. So my cousin on her dad was, you know what I'm saying, because I was so big, I had to wear his clothes. He would give me his hand down. And her dad was a player. You know what I'm saying? And then, I ain't lying, cuz her dad was a player. So this nigga only wore bikini underwear. You know what I'm saying? So I even had to wear, like, I was so poor, I had to wear his hand-me-down underwear, which now I look at it like that's disgusting. You know what I'm saying? But I had to wear his underwear, and I never forget one day I went to school and we were playing football because we had to get dressed in front of everybody. I always went in the corner because I didn't want them to see me with this leopard print bikini underwear on. And I remember one day the dudes came around, they saw what I had on, and man, they flamed me. Oh my goodness, I've never been flamed so hard I couldn't do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? Yep, exactly. Sugar Smack. Same thing with the Sugar Smack. I forgot about the Sugar Smack. I just know the Rice Krispies because I was traumatized by the Rice Krispies. So that was my childhood, man. And like I said, it was about anybody. I know there's people out there that had way more work, way worse, but anything with like people on drugs, I lived that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just like I knew somebody that, like I lived, you know what I'm saying, with drug addicted parents my entire life. So I've seen the ugliest side of this world. Again, I was raped for 6 years by 2 different men in my family. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you how many times I had a gun put in my face. I've been robbed at gunpoint like 3 times. I've been jumped. Like I said, I got jumped by those dudes. I've been jumped at least 3 times just being in the wrong section of Memphis. I'm from North Memphis. But even in North Memphis, I'm from Greenlaw. If I got caught on Sexton, then there was a problem. You know what I'm saying? So I had a really rough life. And a lot of people don't believe it or think I did, because now I'm a chemist and I'm living in this little small town in Waverly, Tennessee, and I'm this chemist for this billion dollar corporation. So when I say I'm from Memphis, they think, oh, I'm from the nice part of Memphis. No, I'm from the hood. Like, I stayed a block away from the projects. All my friends lived in the project. My dad lived in the project. I spent a majority of my time in the project. I'm not from the project, but I spent a majority of my time in the project. So that was my childhood. So I say all that to say I've seen the ugly side of this world. You know what I'm saying? I've seen the ugly side of this world. But the only light I had and all that darkness, ugliness was church. I did love knowing. Eventually, as I got older, I loved going to church because knowing you went so much, you end up loving. So I did love going to church. I was like a junior deacon in the church. I was in a junior choir at the church. So I did love church because as I got older, church was my peace. It was the only place I had peace. It was the only place I wasn't worried about somebody jumping me. It was the only place I wasn't worried about getting robbed. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we had to do and listen to this long, boring sermon. But I knew for that hour and a half I was at church, I didn't have to worry about I wasn't looking on my shoulder, wondering about the stuff that I normally do. So I did start to love church only because it was my refuge. So I had the light of God in me, but, you know what I'm saying, it dimmed out after a while. Because once I got older, so now fast forward, I'm 17, I graduated high school. I was supposed to go to Minnesota to play football for this college in Concord, Minnesota. I'll never forget. It was called Concordia, and it was in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm sorry. And I was supposed to go up there to play football. I got recruited, and I was literally getting ready to leave. And my grandmother, I saw my grandmother came, and she said, "Look, baby," she said, "you know, you've been taking care of me." And she said, "I know you got to leave Memphis." She said, "If you leave Memphis, if you don't leave Memphis, you're going to end up dead or in jail." She said, "I know you got to leave, especially with the way your mom is." She said, "But I just actually don't go so far." She's like, "You go to Minnesota and something happened to me, you ain't going to be able to get home." She's like, "Could you at least just stay close to home?" I said, "Okay, Grandma, I will." So now I said that, I was like, "Man, I want to go. I want to play football for the school." So just so happened that same week, the guy that was my quarterback the year before, he went up there the year before because he was a year older than me. So I saw him and I was like, "Man, how's Minnesota, bro? What we going to do when we get up there?" And he like, "Man, I ain't never going back to Minnesota." I like, "Why not?" He said, "Bro, it was too cold up there." So I'm like, "Bro, you telling me you going to drop out of college because of the weather?" He said, "No, nigga, you don't get it." He said, "I went to school one day. I went to practice one day. We had to practice. It was negative 28 degrees. He said, "Man, I'm never going back to Minnesota." So when he said that, I'm like, "Well, man, I ain't going up there by myself, especially if it's that cold." So the way God was working everything. So just so happened, again, a couple of days after that, I got a letter from Tennessee State University, which was only my second, because I put them on there just to have another school as as a second option. I got a letter from them saying I had been accepted, and I had with the grants and the loans that I had that I was approved for, I would have all my tuition paid. I would actually even have like a $3,000 refund. So I like, well, I guess that's, you know what I'm saying? I didn't think God, divine intervention. I like, well, I guess I'm going to TSU, and it's in Nashville. It's on 2.5 hours away. So it was far enough to where my family won't bother me, but it was close enough if I need to get home, I can get home in a jiffy. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I ended up in going to Nashville, which now I know God had it all in the plan. So I moved to Nashville. I'm in college. Moved to Nashville. Now, like I said, you know what I'm saying? Grandma rule was if you was at her house, you had to go to church. Well, guess what? I ain't in grandma's house no more. So I got to college, man, I started partying. I started doing my thing. And it's so funny because I never was a weed smoker at home. I had smoked just a couple of times because of peer pressure. My boy like, "Hey, man, go and hit this kind of thing," which I did. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't a weed head. I wasn't buying weed. I wasn't rolling blunts or nothing like that. It's just my boys there now and again that try to get me to smoke with them just out of peer pressure, and I would. You know what I'm saying? I never was a drinker because I had an uncle that was a drinker, and when he was sober, the nicest dude you ever meet. When he was drunk, he was straight evil. Like, it was a night and day. You know what I'm saying? So I never was into drinking as well. You know what I'm saying? But when I got to college, I did it all, man. I started smoking weed all the time. I had a roommate that was a weed head, so I started smoking weed all the time. I started drinking all the time. I hooked up these white dudes, and they put me on shrooms. I never heard of shrooms before, and I started taking shrooms. Ecstasy pills started coming out around that time. I was taking ecstasy pills, so man, I was doing everything. But the one thing I always said I would never do was cocaine. You know what I'm saying? I said, I don't care what I do, I'm never going to touch that stuff because I saw what it did to my mama. I know what it does to families. I would never go down that road. That was always my proclamation to myself. Like, man, I do everything else, but I would not touch that cocaine stuff. And this was before meth came out, so I didn't even have to worry about that. But it was just like the pills. I would take hydrocodones and stuff, crush them up, and put them on my blunts and smoke them. And man, I was just wilding out, and I was just partying, and I was being free for, like, you know what I'm saying, 2 years or whatnot. So then my second year of college, my grandma called me, and you know what I'm saying, and she like, hey, how you doing, whatever, and I could tell her voice was kind of heavy. I could tell something serious was going on. Like, what's going on, grandma? She said, baby, I just don't know if I got much longer on this earth. And she said, you know what all I did for you? Now, by this time, I appreciate everything she did. I realized that the reason why I was successful like I was is because of what she did, even though I didn't like it. But she like, baby, all I ask is, you said, there's going to come a point where you're going to need to take care of your brother. She's like, he's not as smart as you. He's not as strong as you. So please, just when you get the opportunity, take care of your brother. So I'm like, all right, grandma, I do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking, I'm just a college student. Like, what can I do for him? Nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't think no big deal of it. I made her this promise. 2 weeks later, she passed away. Like, literally, I made her the promise, and about 2 weeks later, she passed away. And I think it's because she knew her job was done, because she passed away. Because 2 weeks later, like I said, after the whole incident with the summer before, when dude almost killing me, I said, you know what, I'm not going back to Memphis. So after my second year, instead of going home, I got an apartment with one of my best friends that just happened to go to TSU with me. So me and her got an apartment together. And like the day I signed the lease was the next day my grandma passed away. And I guess she was just like, all right, he on his own now. He can do his thing. So I had just all that just lined up perfectly or whatever. So I went to my grandma's funeral, grieved her. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, grandma, I do what I said. So a few months later, you know what I'm saying, I get a call from DCS in Memphis. And they're like, hey, this is DCS. We have your brother in custody, and we need you to either you can come get him, or he was about right at 15 at this time. They said, so either you can come get him, or he's gonna stay into DCS custody till he's 18. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I can't leave my brother in the system that long or whatever. But I'm like, at this point, I'm working at Taco Bell. I do got this little apartment, but I'm not making major money to take care of no whole kid. You know, and they're like, well, you can apply for food stamps and welfare, would you been in college? And no, we can give you assistance or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to have to come and check your place and all that, make sure it's feasible. So I'm thinking like, oh man, ain't no way in heck they're going to give a college student, he's 15, I'm only like 20. Like, ain't no way in heck they're going to give a college student a custody of a child. That would be, ridiculous. So I'm like, oh yeah, y'all come check everything out. So I fill out the paperwork thinking they going to, and that way I can say I did my part, grandma, but they didn't give them to me. Well, guess what? I was sadly mistaken. They couldn't wait to give me that nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up getting custody of this traumatized 15-year-old boy, you know what I'm saying, as a college student. And I ain't got the time, you know what I'm saying? At the time, I'm thinking like, well, what's the worst thing that happen? Like, me and him has always been close. That's my little brother. You know what I'm saying? We gonna party. He likes smoking weed too. And at this time, I was like on weed. Like, I smoke weed every day, like Snoop. You know what I'm saying? I had a wake and bake. I smoked before I went to bed, and I smoked when I got up. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, you know what I'm saying, I'd smoke, and he liked smoking weed too. So I'm like, man, you know what? We're going to have us a bachelor pad. We're going to hang out. We're going to smoke. You know what I'm saying? You mess with girls and all that. We're just going to have us a fun time, and it's going to be cool, big bro and little bro. You know what I'm saying? That's fun. That's far I'm thinking everything going to be hunky-dory. Well, of course, I was sadly mistaken. Somebody going through what he went through is traumatizing. And thing is, y'all see me, I'm nice, intelligent. Again, my cousins can verify everything I'm telling you. I'm a nice, intelligent dude, real easy demeanor, all about forgiving. my brother is the exact opposite. This is part of my language, y'all. This is a straight nigga. Like he's straight niggerish. Like he will, you look at him wrong or blink, he's ready to fight or shoot. Like he was one of those. He was straight. He was like a hood dude kind of thing because he spent a lot of his time in the streets. So we was complete opposite. So of course, somebody like that, you need to take time to spend with him and nurture him and things like that, which I didn't have the time to do. Because, you know what I'm saying, by this time I had my first kid. I'm putting myself through college. You know what I'm saying, working. Like, I really didn't have the time. Now that I'm older and I'm a parent and I understand what nurturing and all that, I didn't have time to be a parent with him at that time. So I'm just trying to be a friend, and that's not what he needed. You know what I'm saying? So, and I found out the reason why he got kicked out, and that's why I say he was so traumatized. So I found out when he went to stay with his dad was a truck driver. You know what I'm saying? So while his dad was out on the road, he was having sex. His mother-in-law was having sex with him. So he was being raped by his mother-in-law, who was way older than him, whenever his dad went out on the road. And he ended up telling his dad, thinking, you know what I'm saying, dad gonna have something. And his dad got mad at him and kicked him out. Instead of, you know, breaking up with his girl, like, you lying, she wouldn't do that, and kicked my brother out and told him never come back. And that's why he ended up in DCS custody, because his dad kicked him out because he told him that his wife was having sex with him while he was out on the road. You know what I'm saying? So he got this trauma going on as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like, man, we just gonna be cool. So we get up there, and that's what we do. We party, we kick it. You know what I'm saying? I'm smoking weed, he's smoking weed. And since I smoke so much weed, I didn't buy weed by like a lot of folks that y'all hear and buy Dub sacks and stuff like quarter like that. I bought my weed by the ounce. Because if you know drug dealing, I'm not saying any of you fine, upstanding people on here do, but if you know drug dealing, the more you buy, the cheaper it is. So it was cheaper for me to buy an ounce because I knew I was going to smoke it before the end of the week because I smoked that much. So it was cheaper for me to buy an ounce instead of buying little quarters and dime. So I got my weed a lot cheaper. And plus I smoke so much, my dealer, he always messed with me. You know what I'm saying? He always gave me something off because that's how you're supposed to do in a drug gang. You take care of your main customer and you charge the other ones the strength. So he always messed with me. You know what I'm saying? So, and then my brother, of course, he's young. He's still in high school. Now, at the time, he was like 16, but he was like in the 9th grade or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because he had failed like twice because he wasn't going to school or whatnot. So he's about to be, you know what I'm saying? He was going to be 18 before he even became a senior. He was going to be 18, like the way he was going, he was going to be 18 as like a junior or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So of course he in high school, he hooked up with other kids that's smoking weed and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So he hooked up with other kids smoking weed. So, you know what I'm saying? So they start hanging out in my house. So again, now I'm older and I'm wise, like I did the absolute wrong thing. But I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying, I'd rather them be at my house smoking and I'd rather them get weed from me than going to somebody else's house and they mess them over or screw them over, they end up getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? So if the little kids wanted to smoke, now I wasn't selling, it was just, I would do what you call eyeballing. So, you know what I'm saying, they like, man, I got $5. I just eyeball what I think is a gram and I just pinch them some out of my bag and give it to them. You know what I'm saying? But like the word got around, like, and I will let y'all know I smoked the good stuff. It wasn't dro, but it was the good stuff. You know what I'm saying? But with the amount I was giving them for the little $5, they always came to me. So next thing you know, because the word kind of got around, you know what I'm saying? All these little kids come to me to get their weed, and I started going through my ounce like every day. So instead of an ounce lasting me for like the whole week, it wouldn't even last me like a day or two. So I started going back and forth to my dealer. And he was actually a college student. He wasn't really a big drug dealer neither. He was just, you know, selling weed to kind of support his habit, kind of thing. So I'm going back and forth. He's like, hey, man, you can't keep on coming over here. You're going to get me in trouble. You're going to run me hot. He said, so what I do? He said, I tell you what I'm going to do. He said, I'm going to give you a quarter pound, which is 4 ounces of weed. He said, I'm going to give you that. And once you get rid of all of it, bring me the money back. Bring me a certain portion of the money back. And then I give you some more. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, bet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking I can make enough money where I basically smoke for free. That's all I was thinking. I don't think about making money or nothing like that. Like, I'm just going to smoke for free. But the way I am in my heart, I put my all into everything I do. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be professional about it. So I went and got me a scale. You know what I'm saying? I went and got baggies and stuff. And I even would have, like, it was Christmas time, I would have red baggies. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Halloween time, I would have orange baggies. And I started, you know what I'm saying, really kind of perfecting my craft, so to speak. So without trying to be like Scarface or some big bad dude, I got into drug dealing that way. So it wasn't like the normal people like, I got to do what I got to do. I just kind of fell into it. And it was really just to make, to get weed. But the thing was, I was good at it. I was really good at it because the kids was comfortable to come, and it wasn't only kids, but I mean, it was a majority of it was kids, but they was come to me because the thing that people always understood in my place, I always had this respect. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a bad dude. Like I told you, I'm not a gangster dude, but my wife has told me, she said, I love you, because you got this aura about you that says just don't F with me. And I'm a nice guy, bro, but you do not want to get me upset. You know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, I go extra mile to keep from getting in any kind of altercation or getting in a fight. But once I go past that line, I just see red. It don't go back. So it's really scary to me. And it's like my strength increased like 8 times. You know what I'm saying? And I just do whatever comes to my mind, and it's usually not good for the other person. So I hate getting in that place. You know what I'm saying? So people always had that respect for me. They know if you came to my house, we were gonna have some girls there, we were gonna have weed there, we were gonna be playing video games, and everybody was gonna chill the F out. That was the rule in my house. Anybody get to being negative, anybody tried to fight, they had to go and they couldn't come back. And they didn't want to do that because they loved my place, because my place was a spot. So that's what we did. So that's why people came to me. And then like when my people, something I used to hate, and again, I don't know if you upstanding people know about this, but if you get weed, sometimes they would do what they call a bag tag. So you go to pay, you know, so let's say you go get a dime sack, which is, you know, $10. They're supposed to be 2 grams. What a lot of dealers would do to cheat you out of your money, they will weigh it out on scale in the bag. You know what I'm saying? So the bag weighs like 0.3, 0.4, depending on how thick the plastic is. So you paying them $10 for, 2 grams, and they give you 1.7, 1.6, sometimes 1.5. So they cheat you out of a whole half a gram, which could be like a whole blunt. I didn't do that. So, and the weed I was getting was so good, and I was getting such cheap prices. If you came to me to get 2 grams, you got 2 grams. You know what I'm saying? If you were one of my good customers, you might got 2.2 or 2.3 or something like that. So I really quick built up a clientele. So it started off with just that quarter pound, and then I sold it in like a few days, because now I'm getting it even cheaper. You know what I'm saying? And I got even more of it. So I run through it in like a few days. So you're like, dang. He said, well, let me give you a half a pound. So he give me a half a pound. Once again, even cheaper, good weed. I go through that real quick. So next thing you know, I end up, you know what I'm saying, he couldn't keep up, because like I said, he was just a college student himself. So I was talking to this lady that I was working with one night. She said, I know this dude that can get you pounds for $500. I'm like, it ain't no way. $500 a pound, that's a lot of money. She said, I promise you. Now, it was just regular weed. It had sticks and stem, but still, because I was getting so cheap, I was able to give like fat sacks out. So I was getting pounds of weed for $500. Now, I ain't got time to do the math, but I'm going to let you know how much money that is. So a pound of weed is 16 ounces. And every ounce is 28 grams. And I sold 28 every gram for $5. So just do the math. You know what I'm saying? And that'll tell you how much money I was making off each one of these pounds. So I had money hand over hand. And then, of course, once you get in the drug world, once you start dealing with weed, there's gonna be the people gonna want other stuff. So people start wanting pills. That was when the pill epidemic started getting bad. So people was wanting pills. So I was living in Bellevue at the time, and I knew like older people that lived out there that liked smoking weed, but they didn't like taking the pain medicine. So I would trade them weed for their pills. So I had pills. Ecstasy came out. I knew a dude that had ecstasy. You know what I'm saying? And then even some of my customers wanted cocaine, but I told them I wouldn't touch that stuff. But I knew a guy that had cocaine, so I would hook them up. You know what I'm saying? And me and him kind of started this business relationship, because when his customers wanted weed, he would send them to me. And when my customers wanted cocaine, I would send them to him. So we kind of had this thing going back and forth. And man, for like 2.5 years, y'all, I thought I had everything that a man could want. Cause like I said, I had Bellevue, my baby mama. At the time, she was just my baby mama. She's my wife now. She gonna kill me when I call her that. But you know what I'm saying? I thought, you know what I'm saying, I didn't have her. She didn't live with me. You know what I'm saying? She didn't live with me because I didn't want the kids to be around there, because we had our kids by this time. And so she lived out of North Nashville, but I paid all her bills, and I paid the bill for my house, and I was putting myself through college. You know what I'm saying? So I was grinding. I had a full-time job. I had a work-study job. I was full-time in college, and I, you know what I'm saying, was doing drug dealing. So I'm grinding, but I'm taking care of like 2 or 3 households, and then all the kids that sold. So they end up, a lot of them end up like getting ready to drop out of school, and they was getting kicked out of their house because of bad behavior and stuff. So I told these kids that, look, I don't hang around losers. So I'm like, if you're going to hang around me, if you're going to be around my house, you know what I'm saying? Someone was asking me like, man, we need to earn money. Let us sell for you. You know, that way you don't have to touch it kind of thing. And we're just selling it. So we get in trouble. It ain't no big deal. Because at this point, I was way past 18 or whatever. So they made it. And my brother kind of broke me down like, man, that's what we need to do. So, you know, they get in trouble. It ain't going to be as bad kind of thing. So I'm like, I bet. I said, but the only way you can sell for me, you got to go to school and have perfect attendance. And you got to have at least a 3.0 GPA. And I know that sounds ridiculous. Like, how are you going to get people requirements to sell drugs? Well, see, the thing is, I broke the game down for them. I said, man, if you disruptive in school, you always missing school, you're the bad apple in school, whenever something at that school happen, you're going to be the first person they're going to look to. And whenever they have a drug rate, they're going to come straight to you because they want to get you out of school anyway. I said, but if you got perfect attendance, you got a 3.0, 3.5 GPA, I said, man, hell, they'll find an ounce of weed on you and let you go. Because they give you the benefit of the doubt. Because they like, it ain't no way it's his. He got tricked. I said, that's how you stay on the radar. I said, so if you want to sell for me, that's what you got to do. Those are the requirements. And man, these kids went from being dropped out. Some of them had dropped out of school, enrolled back in school. Some of them had like 1.0 GPA, 1.5 GPA. And man, all these dudes went from being dropouts to low GPAs to actually applying to college. You know what I'm saying? One dude, he ended up graduating like salutatorian. I think it was either salutatorian or valedictorian of his class. Like, I mean, it was insane, like complete turnaround. And it wasn't funny, but it's kind of fun. I laugh at it now because their parents couldn't understand the change. So they would come to me like, man, I don't know what you're doing. You're so, cause they think, oh, it's because I'm in college and I'm guiding them the right way kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, man, we don't know what you're doing, but keep on doing it. They had no clue. Their kids were doing it because they were selling drugs for me. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? They're like, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. Kind of thing. Which they're like, oh, I plan on it. So that went on for like 2-3 years, you know what I'm saying? About a little under 2.5 years. And like I said, I thought I had everything a man could want. I had girl, I had my baby mama. She was my main girl, of course, but I had all kind of side chicks, you know what I'm saying? I had like a girl for every single day of the week. Like literally, if I wanted to go to, cause I didn't like, you know what I'm saying? When I go to girl, they like she on a period, I just go to another one. You know what I'm saying? Cause I was on the current by myself. I smoked all the weed I wanted to smoke. I had this crew of kids that was loyal, that was selling for me, that I didn't really have to do the work. I just had to get it, you know what I'm saying? Because my little Mexican neck would only deal with me kind of thing. So I basically got it. They ran the business. My brother kind of ran the business kind of thing. I was just over it, you know what I'm saying? It was like Scarface type stuff. I didn't deal with nobody unless somebody introduced them to me first. And it was crazy. And man, it was going, and I got to a point where I had everything that a man could want. I had my own apartment in Bellevue, which is a nice area down in Nashville. In my apartment, we had like a jacuzzi, 2 swimming pools, and I had the perfect, the apartment, where mine was at, had the perfect view, you know what I'm saying? I can sit on my porch and watch like swans and ducks fly in a little fake lake that they had out of there. I mean, it was beautiful. Had my own, I had a car, my brother had a car, all the fresh clothes. You see a lot of my college pictures, you see I was always fresh. I had money, I had like, you know, everything. But with all that stuff, I was always still, I thought I had everything I wanted, but I was still hurting inside. Like I never was satisfied. Like when I was with my boys and we was partying, drinking, smoking, I was the life of the party. I was all smiles. But when I was by myself and somebody never saw, and I'm pretty sure y'all had these points too, where y'all never showed it. When I was by myself, I was sad inside. I was depressed. I can't tell y'all how many times I thought about suicide. Because my thing was, I'm like, man, I worked all my butt off all this time to get out of Memphis, to avoid what my folks was into, to get out away from the drug dealing and all that. And here I am doing the same thing that I left Memphis to run away from. Like, what's my purpose? Like, I got all this stuff and I'm still sad inside. I'm still so, when I'm by myself, I'm so depressed. I don't know what I'm missing. You know what I'm saying? So that was my mindset. So this goes on. And then I can tell, like, it was a couple of times where I thought about killing myself. Like, man, it's no point. I might well take myself out because I ain't doing nothing. Like, this is not going to get me anywhere. So fast forward. Now I'm getting to when God comes in. He intervenes. So fast forward. It's 2003. This one is the story. Let me get some water. I've been talking 1 minute. So now, 2003, I'm still doing my drug dealing, everything going good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly, cuz broken. I was broke. You know what I'm saying? And I forgot to mention this because I always talk about my trauma. So now by this time, and I got to mention this because then I get to the next. By this time, I'm an adult. I've had sex, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't until I was an adult that I really understand how bad I had been violated. Because like I said, I would see the little ads about kids getting touched and molestation, and I was like, man, I'm sorry for those kids, poor kids. It wasn't until I started having sex myself as an adult that I realized, like, oh, crap. Like, that wasn't supposed to happen. What those dudes were doing to me was not supposed to be done for me. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, I can't remember all of it, but it was certain times when it happened. And to this day, I can still remember, like, vivid details of it. You know what I'm saying? Things that happened or whatever. So that started flooding my mind, and I started wrestling, like, am I gay? You know what I'm saying? Like, cause that happened to me and I never said nothing. Did I like it? That's how the devil work on you. When he see you got something broken in you, he try to, use it against you. So I started having all these thoughts, and that's another reason why I was so depressed. I forgot to throw it in there. And that's why I used to smoke so much, because a lot of times I couldn't go to sleep if I didn't smoke, because I'd be up thinking, like, staring at the ceiling, remembering those things that they done to me, and, kicking myself in the butt for never speaking up or saying nothing to nobody about it, kind of thing. So that's what that had me depressed the way I was. So fast forward, that's where I'm at. Got everything, still something missing, and I just had no clue what it was. Now, by this time, it's 2003. At this point, like I said, when I got to college, stopped going to church, started partying, smoking, and drinking. Now it's 2003, so for the last 5 years, y'all, I had not been to church. You know what I'm saying? I went from going to church every Sunday to not going to church at all. Now, every once in a while, it'll be some girl I'm trying to get with, and she'll be like, come to church with me, and I'm thinking if I go to church with her, I can get the booty. That's the only way I went. I never went to church to seek God. And at that point, once I started realizing what had happened to me and how God allowed me to be molested, I was like, I wasn't an atheist. I ain't gonna say I was an atheist, but I definitely had a beef with God. I'm like, man, F God. If God gonna allow something like this to happen to me, man, F him. That was my mindset. So that's why I was just living like a heathen. I'm like, I'm gonna live for myself and I'm gonna do what I want to do. And I did that for about 5 years. So now fast forward 2003, right at the end of December 2003. About the first week of 2003, coming around right before Christmas. So the dude that I was getting my coke from, his name was Slick Rick. We call him Slick Rick. And he came to me and he's like, look, man, I know we got this little business arrangement. You get coke from me and I get coke, weed from you. He said, man, we could be making so much money, bro. He said, you already got a connection with the weed, getting the pounds of weed. He said, I got a connection getting the kilos of cocaine. He said, why don't we go into business together, bro? He's like, man, we can buy a house over there in some bad neighborhood or something like that. We can buy us a house, go in 50-50. You know what I'm saying? You got the coke and everything else. And I know what I'm saying? And I got I got the cocaine, and we can just have a one-stop shop, and we can, and people, like, by the time this summer, because this is, like I said, in December, so he said by the time spring, summer rolled around, when it get warm and everybody ready to get out, get active, he said, man, we can be set up, bro, and we can make a killing. So like I said, I sold at that point, I was selling weed, I was selling shrooms, I was selling pills, I was selling ecstasy, but I had not sold coke because I said I'll never do that. But by this time, I got my baby mama, which I didn't want her to work because I got molested, because my mom would always leave me with whoever she would, would watch me, which was my two, at the time, I thought was favorite cousins, but they was only watching me so they could molest me. So I understood it. So I always said, if I ever have kids, I wouldn't want my wife or my girl to work, because I want her to take care of my kids. You know what I'm saying? So she stopped working. Once we got together and she stopped working. That's why I was taking care of 2 households. You know what I'm saying? So at this time, I'm taking care of 2-3 households. All the little kids that were settling for me, they end up staying with me because the parents kicked them out. So I'm taking care of them, and not to mention myself. Then by this time, we had our first 3 boys. So I got my 3 boys as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting to the point where the little weeds and pills and stuff is not cutting it no more. Like, I need to do something else. So he came, he's like, man, we can do this. So he made this prison proposition, and I was like, but I was struggling with God. I said, I never said coke. I said, you know what, bro? Let me think about it, and I'll let you know in a couple of weeks. So now I hadn't been in church in like 6 years, 5-6 years at this point. So at this point, this is when I went to God for the first time in 5 to 6 years wholeheartedly. And I say wholeheartedly, and then it seemed like I'm going to go to God. Oh, Father God, give me some guidance. It wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? I'm ashamed of it, but it's part of the testimony, part of the story. I went to God, so I was so arrogant and brash. I can't even believe it listened to me. But I went to God, I like, look at God. I said, honestly, at this point, with all I've been through, all I've seen, I don't even know if you're real or not, to be honest. I think you just a fairy tale that they use, the white people use to keep us under control. I said, I ain't being perfectly honest with you. I said, well, all I've been through, if you up there and watched all this happen, I can't even see how I can have love for you. So I said, I tell you what, you better show up and show me without a doubt that you are real. And if you don't, then I'm going to say it's cocaine, and I ain't going to have nothing else to do with you. Because I know, again, I go all in with whatever I do. And if I went into that cocaine world, I know it's going to take me to a whole nother place. And then I told God, I said, if you don't show up and show me without a doubt that you real, I'm going to say it's cocaine, and I ain't going to have nothing else to do with you. And again, excuse me, I didn't get on my knees and pray and Father God, nothing. I just kind of put it in the universe, like as people like to say these days. I just put it out there, and I just like, man, God, you're gonna have to show me something, or I'm gonna say it's cocaine. So I put that out there. Nothing happened immediately. About 2-3 weeks later, so it's the week before Christmas. Kids about to get out on they fall break and all that stuff. So in my mind, I'm like, oh man, it's about to be lit. These kids are gonna be out of school. They ain't got nothing to do all day, so they gonna want to sit around and smoke weed. So I'm finna do. So normally I had a pot of money that I use for my bills and take care of the kids and paying everybody bills, and then I had a pot of money that I used for my drugs to re-up on my drugs. But I'm thinking like, man, it's such a holiday and everybody gonna be out. I need to just do 2 or 3 times more than what I would get. So I just put all my money into the pot. I you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get as much as I can, go ahead and stock up and be ready for this holiday. So the moment I went and bought all these drugs, I ride home, I got a trunk full of drugs. I get there and put my stuff in my little stash spot. The moment I do that, my phone stopped ringing. I kid you not. And for the whole week leading up to Christmas, bro, my phone did not ring once. I might have sold a dub sack, maybe. So I got this stash spot full of drugs and nobody to sell it to. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like 3 days before Christmas, and I can't even buy my kids Christmas presents. So I'm like, man, what am I going to do? So now I'm really depressed because I'm like, man, but that's when the Lord started humbling my heart. You know what I'm saying? That's what he had to do, because I'm starting thinking like, dang, I'm supposed to be the big bad drug dealer. I'm supposed to be the man, and I can't do something as simple as buy my kids no Christmas present. Like, then I really started questioning, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? And I realized it was just out of rebellion because I was so mad at God. So then, for the first time, the Holy Spirit just started working on me. You know what I'm saying? I want y'all, when I say this, I always like to make it clear. I did not hear an audible voice, but something was talking to me that wasn't me. It was something working inside of me that I knew wasn't me, because it was telling me to do things that I normally wouldn't do. You see what I'm saying? It was telling me to do things I don't even want to do. You know what I'm saying? But something was pressing me. Now I know I was under conviction. Something was I'm sorry, I got some bugs flying around in here. They getting to me. But something was bringing me under conviction about what I was doing. And it just started saying, you need to confess. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, I ain't got to confess nothing. So I just ignored it initially. So one of my boys, little white kid that was staying with me, he saw me depressed. I'm depressed. I'm physically, you can see like it was something not right with me. And my boy like, man, what's going on with you? I said, man, I'm depressed, bro. He like, why? I said, man, I don't think I'm gonna be able to buy my kids nothing for Christmas. He like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, how much money you make? Like, how can you not buy your kids nothing for Christmas? I said, man, I got plenty of drugs. I said, but you can't go to Toys R Us with a brick of weed. Like, let me get that bike. It don't work like that. I said, I haven't not made any money this week at all, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So he like, man, I'm going to see if I can help you out. So I didn't know what he mean. I'm like, what do you mean help you out? So once again, his mama was so appreciative of how, because he was the one that had dropped out, and now he had turned his life around, and he was like like I said, like straight A's in school or whatever. So his mama was so appreciative of what I had done for him. He went to, I didn't know he did this, but he went to his mama, because at the time he was staying with me as well. And he told his mom, he said, hey mom, the guy I'm staying with has been helping me out. Like, he's, has some financial difficulties. He's not going to be able to pay, buy his kids anything for Christmas. So the day before Christmas, y'all, I'm stressed. You know what I'm saying? Because I got no money. It's the day before Christmas. This little white lady pulled up in a minivan full of toys for my kids. I'm talking about games. I can't remember what PlayStation or whatever was out at that time, but game stations, like everything, you know what I'm saying, that I wanted to give my kids, she pulled up and she had it in this minivan. You know what I'm saying? And was able to give my kids, I was able to give my kids the Christmas I wanted to give them, but this little white lady had me do it. And that humbled me, because I'm like, how in the heck I'm this big bad drug dealer, and I had to have this little white lady save my Christmas. So I'm like, what am I really doing? And that's when, and that voice started getting like, you need to confess. You need to confess. And I still was fighting. I'm like, man, I ain't got to confess nothing. Everybody know I'm Big Wop, because that's what they call me. Everybody know I'm Big Wop. Everybody know how I get down. I ain't got to confess nothing. But it just weighed on me. And it got to the point, because I was working so much and selling so much drugs, doing all that, I already was only sleeping like 2-3 hours a day. But it had got so bad that I couldn't, even when I got into bed, I couldn't sleep, because it was like I was just under conviction. You know what I'm saying? So finally, I never forget it. It was December 31st, 2003. I couldn't sleep. And so I finally got up. I'm like, all right, what do I need to confess? And it was just like everything. So I just sat down. I just started writing. And every single thing I was doing at that moment, at the time that I knew I wasn't supposed to be doing, I wrote down. You know what I'm saying? Like I wrote down about the drugs. I wrote down about how I was cheating on my baby mama all the time and all the girls I was, you know what I'm saying, playing, messing over, no, everything, every single thing I can think of, like it was just a confession. And when I got done writing, y'all, I was doing so much stuff, I had 5 pages. Like I wrote 5 pages of stuff that I had been doing. And I was like, well, who am I going to send this to? And another major character, I forgot to bring him up. I told y'all earlier I was a Boy Scout, where the guy that was my scoutmaster, he became like my dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he adopted me like as a teenager because I needed that. And he's the one that started giving me guidance and stuff like that. And he was very religious, very strict dude. And I really did. And once again, I didn't like him at first, but I ended up loving him later on. So he became like my dad. And to the point to when I came to college, my cousin might remember I used to have this purple Kia. You know what I'm saying? He co-signed. I got a brand new car straight out the lot because he co-signed for it. You know what I'm saying? But at one point I was so wrapped up in my drug game and drug money, every month, extra bit of money I had, I got more drugs, you know what I'm saying, to make more money. And I got to a point where I just stopped paying the car note because I was like, man, he shouldn't have co-signed for it. That's how messed up an attitude I had. I like, he shouldn't have co-signed for it. So I left him to pay for the bill. So for like 2-3 years, he paying for this car that he co-signed for me. And I didn't even have enough character to even call him. And you know what I'm saying? To be like, man, my bad. You know what I'm saying? And he made the payments. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there like, all right, I wrote this letter. What am I do with it? So then the spirit like, you need to send it to somebody. So I'm like, well, who the heck am I sending it to? Nobody gonna want to hear this. And they were like, send it to Mr. Allen. That's his name, Mr. Allen. And like, oh, he definitely ain't gonna want to hear this. You know what I'm saying? Because he actually had a son that got involved in drug dealing and he ended up disowning his own sons. I'm like, I'm just like an adopted son. He ain't gonna want to hear this, but he like, send it to him. So I get up, go get a stamp and envelope, put it in the mailbox. And I never forget when I put that mail in the mailbox and I did what that voice, that conviction was telling me to do, I finally had peace. So I went home and I went to sleep. And I woke up about 4 hours later. And the reason why I woke up, because my phone was ringing off the hook. Y'all, boy, I'm telling you, I had a ball today. Like, my phone started ringing. And I guess everybody was, you know what I'm saying, New Year's Eve, getting ready to party. I had a closet full, a stash full of drugs. I sold out in one day. You know what I'm saying? So then I sell out. I go back to my guy to re-up, and he tells me, and again, if you know anything about the drug business, you know this don't happen. He tells me, hey, I got some better weed, but it's cheaper. What? That don't make sense. If you got better weed, it's going to be high. He said, man, I got better weed, but it's an even cheaper price for you. So I stock up again. I sell out again. So then I go back. He said, man, I even got some better weed for cheaper prices. So 3 times within a week, I sell out. You know what I'm saying? And every time I went back, I was finding getting better weed for cheaper prices. So in my mind, I'm like, well, this must be God's sign. He must want me to sell dope. You know what I'm saying? Because everything I was wanting to happen, and then my confidence came back so strong. You know what I'm saying? All the girls that I had been wanting to hook up with, but I was too shy to talk to or didn't think she was in my league. I like, man, I'm a man. And I'm just going up to these chicks in college and telling them we want to hook up, and it was happening. So like, I'm like, all right, and I'm back. So this goes on for like 5-6 weeks. And again, everything I wanted to happen was happening. So I'm thinking like, well, this must be what God want me to do. Not to mention I got these young group of kids that they changing their lives around. So like, well, this must be what God want me to do. So this going on 5-6 weeks. Now, in the meantime, Rick then came back. You know, Slick Rick then came back. He's like, all right, man, what we going to do about this house? We're going to do this. And I said, man, honestly, and I was making so much money at that time. I like, bro, I'm making so much money right now. I don't know if I want to bring that cocaine because 1, I already said I wasn't going to do it. I didn't want to do it. But 2, I knew it's a different element. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different element when you cocaine, like weed and pills, that's one thing, but that cocaine and now that meth and that fentanyl, that's a whole nother ball game. That's a whole nother animal. And that ain't something you need to get involved unless you honestly willing to kill people. And I wasn't trying to go that route. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, honestly, bro, I'm making so much money right now. I don't think I need to bring that drama into my life. He said, but bro, come on, bro. And once again, he tried to convince me. I said, all right. I said, tell you what, give me a couple more weeks and I think about it. So now, fast forward. So now, Slick Rick had these 2 dudes that worked for him, or what they would call the goons or the henchmen or the shooters or whatever you want to call them. And one of them name was Mandrikas and this other guy name was Yoshan. So we called him Man G. So right about 2 weeks before this experience I'm about to tell y'all happened, Man G started hanging out at my house. Now again, when you was at my house 24 hours a day, bro, I don't care what time you came there, we was partying. You know what I'm saying? It was weed in the air. It was drinks on the counter. It was girls around, boys around. I don't care what time you came to my house. That's how it was, like a 24-hour, 7 days a week party. Cause like I said, my boys at this time, my brother, all he did was solo dope and all that stuff. I went off work, but they was always there. It was always somebody at my house partying kind of thing. So whenever anybody came over my house, they was partying for a good time. Except my man Dreeks, I noticed when he started coming over, he would just sit in the corner and he wouldn't like partake in anything. And I'm like, man, why is this dude sitting there with this sour look on his face? You know what I'm saying? And then my instinct kicked in like, maybe he's watching you. But I was so prideful and arrogant. I like, it ain't no way he wouldn't dare. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm Big Wop. You know what I'm saying? I had a pistol, and I actually had a handgun permit, so I can walk around with a pistol on my side. So I'm like, he wouldn't dare try me. You know what I'm saying? Because I was so arrogant. But I did notice that he would, you know what I'm saying, hang out, and he'd be at the house, but he never participated in an activity that was going on. So I thought that was weird. So now fast forward. So for this next 6 weeks, it's just great. I mean, but the thing is, I started feeling different. You know what I'm saying? I can't explain. Like, I felt something on me. You know what I'm saying? But it was a good feeling. I don't know if y'all ever woke up, you just had that excitement, like something good is about to happen. That's what I had for like 6 weeks. But I thought it was because I was doing so well in my drug business. I had absolutely no clue is what it was going to end up being. So I got this something on me, and I just got this feeling, and I honestly felt like I was enlightened. I'm like, man, the hand of God is upon me, and he want me to sell dope. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I'm living my life. So this goes on about 6 weeks. So now fast forward to the moment. So now I'll never forget it. So the job that I had, like I said, I was doing college, selling dope, but I had a job. I worked at this place called Clover Bottom. And this place, it was out on Stewart Ferry Pike, and you work with mentally retarded people. And I worked third shift. So I would go in, and we basically get there at 11 o'clock, and they was already in the bed. So all we had to do basically the whole night was every once an hour go and check and make sure those guys were breathing, because they would sometimes stop breathing, and then several of them died like in the past because they stopped breathing while they were asleep, like sleep apnea kind of thing. So my only job was to just go in there and check them, and you know what I'm saying, make sure they sleeping and us not fall asleep, because we had to stay up as well all night, and that was rough. You know what I'm saying? So what we would do to stay up and everything, to entertain ourselves. So when me living in Bellevue and selling drugs the way I was, I basically had a connection in every store out there. So I had one of my guys that worked in Papa John's Pizza. So I would sell, you know what I'm saying, he would do business for me out of Papa John's kind of thing. I had one guy that worked there. He was like a manager at the video store in the area. So all the little stores in the area we were staying at, I basically had somebody in each store. So anything I wanted, I got. So all I had to do was tell my guy, like, hey, I'm coming back getting some pizza tonight because I want to take to work. So I go by, I get like 4 or 5 large pizzas taken to feed everybody at the job. You know what I'm saying? I had whatever PlayStation, I can't remember what it was, over 20 years ago, but I had it. And whenever the new games came out, I was able to get them like a day or two before they put them on the shelf because of my connection. So that's what I would do. I would bring in my game, my PlayStation, whatever it was I had. I would bring in food, and we would sit there and play video games, eat food. Sometimes we play cards, play dominoes and all that. And sometimes we have like a deep philosophical discussion every once in a while, but most we were just chilling. And then another thing we would do, I would bring the weed too. So we would sneak out back and, you know, on our breaks, and we smoke weed out back. So I was like the man there, you know what I'm saying? So this particular day, never forget, it was a Friday the 13th. It was a Friday and it was the 13th. So the way you worked, every other weekend you got off. That was your weekend off. And it was going to be my weekend off, and it was payday weekend. So I'm like, so the money that I made for my job, I just used that to re-up. Like, it was just like, you know, play money, so to speak. I just used that to re-up because most of the money I paid my bills with was from the dope money. So I just, whenever I got paid, I just took that and bought more dope with it, kind of thing. So I'm ready for the weekend. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great weekend. It was a Valentine's weekend. I had like 5 dates set up for Saturday, because it was Valentine's Day was Saturday the 14th. I had like 5 days set up, and I just got my plan. I just know this is going to be a great weekend. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in there, and I'm just in a good mood. And we had this white guy named Randy. He was an older guy, but he was weird, man. He one of those weird white guys, like, you know what I'm saying, what you would call like hippie type. And he would walk around playing a guitar, and every once in a while he'll stop and say some weird, deep philosophical stuff. You're like, man, Randy gone somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in a good mood, and Randy kind of walking around his guitar, and he looked at me and said, hey, he said, what's up with you, man? I said, what do you mean? He said, man, I've never seen you in such a good mood, because we were like, I was dealing cards, and I was like throwing people cards at them and flipping their cards over. You know, if you play spades, you know that pisses people off. But I was just in a good mood, you know, and he can tell that I was in this good jolly mood. He said, what's up with you? I said, man, I don't know, bro. I said, I feel good as I've ever felt in my life. I said, matter of fact, I think the hand of God is on me, and I'm enlightened. And he said, what? I said, yeah. He said, why you say that? I said, man, because I talked to God a little while ago, and I think God want me to sell dope. And he said, start laughing. He said, man, that's the dumbest part of my language, y'all. He said, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. He said, why you think God wants you to sell dope? So I started, you know what I'm saying, breaking down like, man, I keep on getting better weed for cheaper prices. Everything I want, I was working out. All the girls I want is working out. I said, not to mention, all the kids in my crew, they went from being dropouts to, you know what I'm saying, to being dropping out of college. They went from dropping out of college to now dropping out of high school and having low grades to now they're applying to college. They got 4.0 GPAs, all because they want to sell dope for me. And he said, man, he said, that's dumb, bro. He said, do you think those kids are doing that because they want to sell dope for you? He said, they doing it because they want to be around you. And he said, it's not the dope. He said, something you don't see about yourself that I've always saw in you. He said, there's a light in you, bro. And he said, that's what those kids are following. He said, they're following that light in you. He said, so whether you're selling dope, and it's funny he said that. He said, whether you're selling dope or preaching, those kids will follow you. I guarantee you that. So I'm like, man, no, but I'm high. I don't want to hear this philosophical God stuff. I said, man, I ain't doing no stuff. Like, I don't care about none of that. I said, man, they just want to be a drug dealer like me. They want to be big like I am, and that's why they follow me, and that's why I'm gonna keep on doing it because that's what God want me to do. He said, man, he said, look, he said, I can tell you being annoyed, getting irritated. I don't want to do that. He said, but let me let you know something, bro. He said, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. He said, God is not in there. He said, God is nowhere in that. He said, what you doing? He said, God is not in there. He did because he said, God would not do something like that. And I said, well, I tell you what, bro. You know, and again, at this point, I was being arrogant. I said, well, I tell you what, man, even if God ain't in it, I'm going to keep doing it because I'm making this sacrifice to help these kids. I said, so if me making this sacrifice is going to make these kids have a better life, then I make that sacrifice. And he said, brother, that sound good, but I'm leaving you with this. He said, God likes obedience over sacrifice. He said, yes, you sacrificing and you helping those kids out, but you're still doing something contrary to the word of God. He said, so bar what you think, God is nowhere near what you're doing. And I just pray you get out before it's too late. And they're like, man, I don't want to hear that. So, you know what I'm saying? So we in the conversation. I think none of it. But at the same time, that line to this day stuck with me. Obedience over sacrifice. He said, God wants obedience over sacrifice, and you're not being obedient. And that stuck with me. So it kind of brought me under conviction, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? That whole day. So again, I get out of work, I do my usual routine, I go re-up, I go grab me a couple of pounds, some pills, and all that. Because at this point, I was diversified, so I was getting everything more than just weed. I was getting the weed, but I was getting the pills, I was getting everything else. I just wasn't getting the coke. You know what I'm saying? Again, far away from where I thought I would ever be. So I go re-up like I normally do, and now Valentine's Day come up this Saturday. So like I said, and I'm not saying this to brag, and I hate telling this story when my wife was around because she always giving this stink eye. But I had like 5 dates set up that day, and I had it perfectly because I started the day off with picking up my baby mama, or baby mama at the time, taking her to breakfast, and then I went and I was going to pick up my other girls, and then I'm going to go pick my baby mama up, and we're going to spend the night together. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing this, I'm on my dates, and then Man G called me. Now, Man G, remember, he's a slick rich shooter. He calls me up, and he said, hey, bro, what you doing? I said, man, and it just so happened he called me between dates. He said, man, I need your help, bro. I said, what's up? He said, man, now this is a Saturday. He said, man, look, I got some white people I want to rob Monday, but because of my record, I can't get bullets for my gun. He said, would you mind going with me to grab some bullets? You know what I'm saying? Cause you got your handgun license, so it ain't no way they're going to tell you, would you mind doing that? Now, if anybody know now, like, hell no, I ain't doing that. I go get you bullets, go get a gun, you kill somebody, I'm going to jail for accessory because I got you the bullet. But at the time, I was so far away from God, y'all, and I was living so wild and crazy. I was like, man, hell yeah, come pick me up. Now, at this time, my brother, he had a Cadillac, and I told him not to buy this darn Cadillac, but he's hard-headed. Like I said, he's very niggerish. And he bought this Cadillac, and the transmission had went out that week. So now we down to just my car. So I didn't want to take the chance on missing a sale while I was out doing this little errand with this dude. So I told my brother, man, I'm going to leave and I hate riding with people. Like to this day, I don't like riding with people because if I get somewhere and I want to leave, I want to be able to leave. I don't want to have to wait for somebody else to get ready to leave. I absolutely hate that. It pisses me off. So I never ride with anybody. But this day I was like, sometimes like, just go and get in the car. So I'm like, all right. So I got in the car. So I told my brother, like, hey, I'm going to leave some dope here with you. And I'm going to take some with me in case somebody call me while I'm out. And I can get these dudes just, take me to drop it off or whatever. I said, but just keep an eye out, and I hit you up. I'll be back in a little bit. So this dude pull up, man, like I said, Man G pull up. He got his boy Yo Sean in the front, and then he got whoever car he was in that was driving. And to this day, I don't even know who the driver was. I didn't even pay attention to him. But I got in the car. So normally, like I said, me and G, he like to rap and it's freestyle and stuff. So normally when we together, he's freestyling and we doing all this crazy, you know what I'm saying, stuff, smoking weed and all that. But when I got in the car, it was silent, bro. And it was so weird because he looked at me like, hey man, what's up? He said, hop in. And I got in and then everybody just looking straight forward. Like no music wasn't playing. It was quiet. It was weird. You know what I'm saying? And it was like it was tense. And I didn't understand because again, I'm so prideful and arrogant. I'm not reading the room, so to speak. So I'm like, why is these niggas tense? And for the first time, I clearly heard the Holy Spirit speak to me. Again, not a voice. You know what I'm saying? I clearly heard the Holy Spirit speak to me. And he was like, you know what I'm saying? And these words start coming to me. Now, I always keep, and again, this is something you can test me on. I always keep paper in my pocket. I always keep ink pens in my pocket because I've always had these ideas come to me and I would write, if I didn't write them down, I'll forget them. So I always kept these pens and paper in my pocket to do so. But this day it was different. So I had just got written up at work for being late. Imagine that. I had just got written up at work for being late, and the slip was still in my pocket for some odd reason. I hadn't taken the slip out. So I'm in this car with these dudes. It's silent. The moment I get in the car, something just comes over me, and these words start coming to me. And I'm like, what is going on? So I just took out my pen and paper and I started writing. Now, I lived in Bellevue. The place we was going to get the bullets was on Dixon Road. So if you know Nashville, it's about a 30-minute drive. Well, 25, 30-minute drive. Now it's probably an hour because all the traffic. It wasn't that bad traffic back then. But about anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes, depending on how fast you drive. So the whole time, I'm not talking to dudes or nothing. I'm just writing. And it was weird because I'm just writing. This stuff is not coming to me. You know what I'm saying? And when I got done, so literally, I felt like I was in a trance almost because I was writing, but I wasn't. It almost felt like I was being dictated to, if that makes any sense. And I don't want to get all spirit. I know a lot of people get weird and creepy spiritually. I just felt like I was being dictated to. And I did because the words that I was writing wasn't any way I have ever thought before in my life. So, but I'm writing. So literally I go into like this trance, and then we pull up to the store to get the bullets, and dude like, hey bro, we here. And I like snap out like, where? You like, man, we're at the store? Like, already? You know what I'm saying? And then I look down, y'all, I got a song. I had wrote a song. I'm talking about 3 verses and the chorus. And the name of the song was named God's Will. And the point of it was saying that no matter what happens in your life, no matter how good, bad, or ugly it is, God is in it all. Now, mind you, I've never written a song before, and I hadn't been in church in like 6 years. And the last time I even thought about God, I was like, F God. So why in the world am I writing a song talking about God is in control of everything, and no matter what happens to you, God is in it all? So I'm like, man, that's weird as hell. So I just fold up. I'm like, oh, let me go get these bullets. So I didn't even read it. I just looked at it, put it in my pocket. So I get out the car. Dude, give me the money. I get out the car. I go into the little store to get the bullets. And I walk in. It's like this old white man standing behind the counter. And I go in there, I walk in there like, hey, sir. And I never forget, it was a word on the back of him, but I know it was 22. I don't know if he said, give me 22 caliber, 22 short. It was 22 something, but I know it's some 22 bullets. So I walk into this gun store and I tell this guy, hey man, let me get a box of 22 bullets. So I slapped the money down on the counter, and I slapped my handgun license on the counter. And the dude looked at me, he said, oh man, he said, I can't do that, brother. I can't sell you no bullets. I'm like, what do you mean you can't sell no bullets? I said, man, look, here go my license, here go my money, just give me the darn bullet. He's like, nah, man, I ain't selling you bullets. As a matter of fact, I appreciate you leaving my store. So now I'm thinking, it's a white dude, he being racist. So I'm like, man, you being racist, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm going off on this dude. And he's like, man, let me tell you something. He's like, you got about 3 seconds. He put his hand on the counter, like they do in the movies. He's like, you got about 3 seconds to leave my store, or we're going to have a problem. Now, I don't know what he had on the counter, and I ain't know if he was going to pull something on the counter. I ain't know he was going to call the police. And I know the dudes in the car probably had guns and stuff, and I know I had dope and stuff in my pocket. And I don't know if he can smell the dope, and that's why. But for whatever reason, this dude was sending me a bullet, and it made absolutely no sense because I had never been arrested, and I had a handgun license to carry a gun. But this dude would not send me bullets. So it didn't make sense. I leave. I grab my money, my license. I'm pissed off, and I walk out the store. So I go and get back in the car. And the dude like, man, where the bullets at? I said, bro, I can get them. He said, nigga, you lying. Like, why wouldn't they give you the bullets? You've never been arrested. You got your handgun permit. Why didn't you get a bullet? I said, nigga, I don't know. So they thought I was BS. I said, man, you done brought us all the way over, waste all this gas, and you gonna chicken out when you get in there? I said, bro, I'm telling you something right now, bro. I said, I did you a favor. I had to miss a date to come do this. I said, so we can either go back to my house or we can have a problem right here. And you're like, no, we good, we good. So I was like, all right. So I get in the car, we go back, didn't think none of it. But it took so long. The girl that I was supposed to be going out in that time frame, going out within that time frame, I had to cancel it because it was too late to go and it was gonna mess up my other day. And plus, she was one of the ones that I really wanted to get. I had never went out with her before, and she was like from Africa, bro. And I'm talking about fine. She had what we like to call lips, hips, and fingertips. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to do something strange for a little piece of chain with her, and I didn't want to rush her. So I'm like, you know what? And I called her like, look. So, and she knew I sold dope or whatever. So I was like, look. Some came up. I had to have some business. You know how I go in this game. Would you mind going out with me tomorrow night? And she's like, fine. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. So she's like, I'm going to come out Sunday night around 7 o'clock. So I'm like, bet. So that's Valentine's Day, February 14, 2004. And that's why I put that song out this past Saturday, because it was Valentine's Day 2004 when I wrote that song on the way to go buy these bullets for this dude that said they're going to rob some white people. So now Sunday night come around, and this is where it all comes to head. So Sunday night come around, February 15, 2004. I got girl coming over. Now, again, this girl's a college girl. So I knew if I had a million people running in and out the house that she wasn't going to want to do nothing. And like I said, I'm trying to do something strange for a little piece of change. So I told my boy, like, hey, all y'all need to leave the house. I want to be here by myself. I got this girl coming over. She coming over by 7. Y'all don't need to come back to the house around 11:30. I said, if you come in before then, we're going to have some problems. So they leave. I'm at the house by myself. I clean the house up, get it all nice and spiffy. She come through and we kick it. And it was a good conversation. And of course, it wasn't what I wanted it to be, but we had a good conversation. And at the end of it, she's like, you know what, John? She said, I knew what you was doing. And she kept it real, man. She said, I knew what you were trying to do. She said, I don't get down like that. She said, so I told my sister to call me at a certain 9 o'clock and say that she had some emergency for me to come pick her up. She said, now I am going to go. I am going to leave because I don't give out on the first date like that. She said, but I do like you. I like the conversation we had. Why don't we, hook up in a couple of weeks? So, and while we was talking, it was watching TV and it was some movie that was going to come out in the next 2 weeks. She said, why don't we hook up and go see that movie? I was like, bet. So she left and I'm pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't get what I wanted to happen. But it was the first time, bro, that I had my house to myself. Very first time ever that I was in the house by myself. And it was so weird because I didn't even know what to do. Because I've always had somebody by myself. I've never been by myself. And the thing is, a lot of times, that's why we don't hear God. Because we never get by ourselves and spend time with God. We always got people and distraction around. But this time I was by myself. So I remember thinking like, man, I'm by myself. What am I going to do with all this free time? You know what I'm saying? And then something hit me. The Holy Spirit hit me like, hey, why don't you work on this song from yesterday? And I'm like, yeah, that's weird because I ain't never wrote a song before. And I literally, and I kid y'all, I'm not saying this to hype the story up, y'all. I literally had no idea what I wrote down. I just wrote, and I knew it was a song. I knew it was enough. It was a song because it had a chorus, but I did not know exactly what I wrote down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, that's weird. So I was smoking weed, so I rolled me a blunt. I smoked about half of it. And then I had a glass table in my dining room that I normally broke my dope down on. And that's where I went. The exact spot I would normally be sitting there breaking my dope down on was the exact spot I was sitting there reading these lyrics. Now, again, I don't know any of you fine, upstanding people on this place have ever smoked weed before. But if you have, then you would know that when you smoke weed, it intensifies stuff. Like, so you hear a song is even more intense and the music is just more great. So I'm reading these lyrics that I wrote the day before and I'm high. And it's like hit me and what it was, to my amazement, it was basically my life in a song. Like, it was basically my testimony. Like, I'm going this 2 hours telling y'all all these details, but basically this song summarizes my life. You know what I'm saying? So it was my life in a song. And like, man, this is weird here, but it was talking about basically how rough my life was, but how God had this plan for it all, and eventually he going to use me to do this great work. That's what and I'm like, what the hell? I ain't been in church in 5 years, and I'm talking about God's will, and he going to work it all out and all this. Like, what is this? So I was reading through it, and it was a line in the song where I talk about selling dope. Again, if you heard the song, because I just posted it, you wouldn't actually listen to the whole song. There's a line talk about selling dope. I was about to change that line. So I had a pen in my hand, and I'm reading. I got to that line. I was about to change it. And when I got ready to go change that line, my hand froze in like midair. And my first thought, like, man, this is some good weed. I'm so high, I'm stuck. You know what I'm saying? So that was my first thought. I'm like, it's the weed. So, but I go to put more pressure on the pen. Like, I tried to force the pen on the paper, and bro, the pen literally would not move. It wasn't that I couldn't move it. It wouldn't move. It's almost like it was suspended in midair, like somebody had a hand on it and wouldn't let me move it. So I'm like, wait, what the hell is going on? So next thing you know, bro, my tears start coming out of my eyes. And I start like crying. And you know what I'm saying? Then my heart started beating like fast, like it was pounding, almost like I was about to have a heart attack. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, what's going on? And then right at that moment, my life flashed before my eyes. And when my life flashed before my eyes, I saw all the stuff I had went through in North Memphis. I saw all the bad stuff I had done. I saw all the times I had got jumped. I saw all the time I could have died. You know, so I saw all the time I got robbed at gunpoint over in North Memphis. Like all the bad stuff I saw when I was getting molested. I saw all the bad stuff that ever happened to me in like the glimpse. So I'm thinking I'm dying because I'm like, I just saw my life flash before my eyes. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like I saw it and I remember thinking like, okay, why am I being shown this? Because I lived through that. I've been trying to forget that. And then it's like almost like a movie. You know how you rewind a movie like rewind and it goes fast? Well, most of y'all don't know about that because they don't rewind movies no more. But if you had a VCR tape and you rewind a movie, you're seeing it, but it's going fast and it's going backwards. That's what this little vision I was having happened. And then it started playing again. And this time, God showed me in them very same situations where I thought I was by myself. And the reason what I thought God had abandoned me, and that's why I was in those situations. He showed me he was there the entire time, y'all. Like every single bad situation that I was in that I thought God had abandoned me, he showed me the reason why I made it through those situations was because he hadn't abandoned me. So I'm like, what is going on right now? And then the Spirit, again, I didn't hear a voice. The Spirit was like, well, you said you want God to show up and show you that he's real. Well, guess what? This sensation you feeling, this chills you got on, and I'm going to show you. Y'all probably can't see it, but you see right now my hair standing up on my arms. I'm going to explain in a second. He said that this feeling this sensation that you got, he said right now, that's the presence of God. He said, that's why you feel it. He said, that's the Holy Spirit. He said, so if you got something to say to God, then you need to say it. I said, oh, I got something to say to God. So I threw my pen down, y'all. And you know what the first thing I said to God? I said, man, F you, God. You know what I'm saying? I said, if you going to show up now after all these years, bro, you know what I had to go through in North Memphis. You know what I had to deal with my mom on that crack and my dad on that crack. And you know what I'm saying? Being broke and poor and fat and black and, you know, all couldn't get a girlfriend to save my life. And I just had this whole laundry list of stuff that I was mad at God about, that I felt he had let me down on because he didn't take care of me. And then I like, on top of that, you let these two dudes like rape me for 5-6 years, two different men in my family, had me around here thinking I'm gay because I never said nothing about it, and I'm just going off on God. You know what I'm saying? So this goes on like 20 minutes, and I finally get through, y'all. I'm a mess. I'm crying. My shoulders wet because I've been crying so hard, and I'm huffing, I'm puffing. My heart still feel like it's about to beat out my chest, and it's like God was like, all right. Again, I'm telling y'all, this is not audible. It's just my spirit talking to me. And God was like, all right. He said, you upset. He said, honestly, you got every reason to be upset. He said, I admit, man, that was a rough life. You know what I'm saying? He said, I had a rough life. He said, but at the same time, let me ask you one thing. He said, what have you ever done for me? And it was just silent, just like that. And it's like everything came, like my crying, my tears stopped, and everything stopped because it threw me off guard. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, simple. He said, what have you ever done for me? He said, you got this long list of things that you said I've never done for you. What have you ever done for me? He said, let me ask you something. He said, you supposed to be a Christian, right? He said, have you ever told anybody about me? And when I thought about it, I like, no, I haven't. He said, exactly. He said, you know what I'm saying? And you think about it, y'all. We always want to do, what can God do for us? You know what I'm saying? We get into lose a job. Oh, God, give me another job. You need to move. Oh, God, show me where to move. You know what I'm saying? Want a girl. God, give me a girl. We always go to God to see what God can do for us, but we never, and y'all can be honest with yourself, you can lie to yourself, we never think about what can we do for God. Not one day. We always live selfishly. And that's what he said. He said, man, you're supposed to be a Christian and you've never told anybody about me. He said, let me ask you something. He said, right now, you're going to college, you're selling drugs, you're working 2-3 jobs, you're barely sleeping, you're killing yourself, you're doing all this stuff. He said, why are you doing it? Are you doing it so these young kids can think you somebody important, somebody big and bad, like you Scarface somebody, or you doing it for my kingdom? And I'm like, well, of course I'm doing it for myself. He said, have you ever asked me to provide for you? He said, have you ever, you know what I'm saying? You saying I never did all this stuff for you, but have you ever asked me to do anything for you? And I'm sitting there thinking like, he got me stuck. I'm like, dang, I have never asked God to do nothing for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've always had the mentality to get it how I live. You know what I'm saying? We know in North Memphis, you're going to get it. You're going to do what you got to do. And that's what most drug dealers do. Man, I'm doing what I got to do, doing what I got to do. In reality, we're not doing what we got to do. We are doing what we got to do, but we only doing it, got to do it because we never went to God with it. And that's what God showed me in that moment. He said, exactly, bro. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, I felt cursed. I felt like every time I got 2 steps ahead, I got pushed 4 or 5 steps back. And I never understood why. Like, why do I always feel so cursed? Why can't I never get, no matter how hard I work, no matter what I do, no matter how much money I made, no matter drugs I sell, I can never get ahead. Why do I feel cursed? He said, the reason why you feel cursed is because you're living for yourself and not for me. He said, you think I got you out of North Memphis, put you in this situation just so you can come up here and do this? He said, the very thing that you left North Memphis to avoid is that you came here and did the same thing. He said, and the reason why you're doing that because you're rebelling against me and you're running from me. He said, but I tell you what, you got a choice to make. He said, you can keep doing what you're doing and you'll be dead by tomorrow, or you can start serving me and I can use you to bring other people like you to me. So I'm like, oh, what do you mean dead by tomorrow? What you mean? He said, you know, when you went to that store to buy those bullets, he said, you know why you couldn't buy those bullets? He said, because even though those dudes told you they was getting those bullets to rob white people, he said, in reality, they planned on robbing you. And he said, honestly, they knew you had money and dope in your pocket when y'all went to the store, and they were going to rob you right then as soon as they got the bullets. But I wanted to give you one more chance. He said, and guess what? They still plan on, like they said, they're going to rob the white people Monday night. They plan on robbing you Monday night. And he said, if you don't make the right decision tonight, you're not going to make it through that robbery. You know what I'm saying? And so he gave me a choice to make. So again, he said a whole lot of other stuff, which I ain't got the time to get into that. But he just basically revealed all these things to me. He showed me how he had worked in my life this entire time. And it's because I asked him, like, well, man, if you got this work you got me to do, nigga, you know, and keep it real, like, nigga, why you put me through so much? Why did I have to get raped? And why did I have to be poor? Why did I have to, you know, you could have just called me then and let me do it. He said, because the work I have for you to do is going to be a rough work. He said, I want you to go and to get my lost sheep. He said, you know, these preachers out here, they can start a church and they can get people in church and bring people to church. He said, I want you to go and get people that's not even thinking about me. He said, I want you to go get the prostitutes while they still stand on the corner prostituting. He said, I want you to go to the trap and get the drug dealers while they still in the trap drug dealing. He said, I want you to go to the jails and talk to the murderers and the killers and the rapists. You know what I'm saying? He said, I want you to be able to go talk to people that's been molested and tell them how, you know, my love for you brought you out of that. He said, I put you through everything that the people that I need you to go win is going through right now because I need you to be authentic. Because what they say in the streets, real recognize real. He said, so if you go here clean cut, ain't never know what it is to be hungry, to have food in your stomach, never know what it is to have to do what you need to do to survive, you're not going to get to reach the people that I need you to reach. He said, but because of your testimony, and that's why I'm so excited always about my testimony. He said, because of your testimony, because of the life you live, because of the things you survive, he said, you're going to be able to go to those people, and all these people that's not even thinking about me, you're going to be able to bring them to me. He said, one day you're going to release that song, and that song is going to change the world because it's going to change the hearts of all my people that's been ignoring me for all these years. It's going to bring them back to me. You know what I'm saying? And I said, well, how am I going to do that? He said, the way I said, man, I can't be no preacher, bro. You know what I'm saying? And actually, the drama that I was dealing with before this is it got to deal with this whole situation. So I'm like, man, I can't be no preacher, bro. I'm like, man, I can't see myself in those suits. And so I said, man, if I'm going to be me, I said, if I'm going to do this, I got to be me. And he said, that's exactly what I want you to be. He said, I don't want you to fit into that box. I don't want you to be clean cut. He said, I want you to get there. He said, because the people that you talk to, this is how they talk. I need you to be on their level. I need you to be right there with them. He said, yes, you're intelligent. You can use better words, but this is how you relate to them. He said, they got to see your flaws. They got to see that you're weak. They got to see that you're not perfect. But more importantly, they got to see that you love God over it all. He said, so I need you to be you who you are. He said, I don't want you to change at all. He said, the only thing you need to change is your priorities. He said, right now you living for yourself, and I want you to, from this day forward, live for me. And you got a choice to make. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what the charge he gave me. He said, I want you to gather my lost sheep. You know what I'm saying? So that's why my ministry is called the Lost Sheep Ministry. That's why when I go soul winning, I go into the projects. That's why I go into the jails. That's why I go into the trailer park. That's why I go into low income neighborhoods, because I can relate to those people more. Not only that, I can be myself. Like when I go into the jail, y'all, I act a fool in there. I'm straight Big John from North Memphis when I go into the jails, and they love it, bro. And because I can go in there and be myself, no judgment from those guys in jail, man. In the last 7 months, I've led almost 70 inmates in the little jail down here to the Lord. And this is a small jail, it only hold 100 people. And most of them have been in there for forever. You know what I'm saying? And so I've led 70 of them to the Lord. Imagine if I went into a prison with thousands in there, what I can do. Because I'm always myself. And my childhood friend right there, he one of the dudes I was talking about earlier that I grew up with. He can tell you, I'm the same Big John I was in North Memphis. I have not changed. The only thing that has changed is God is my priority instead of myself. Where I used to wake up, wonder how much drugs I'm going to sell and how many girls I'm going to have sex with. Now I wake up and wonder how many people I'm going to get to tell about God. Am I going to get to lead anybody to the Lord today? That's what's changed. And that's what God told me. He said, just make me your priority from this day forward, and I'm going to take care of everything else. And that's what I did. And he said, and the good thing is, I still get to be me. So I'm the exact same freaky deaky Big John from North Memphis, but God is my purpose now instead of myself. And that's what he told me. And so again, I'm just like, so I had this conversation with God. Like I said, that's the main thing he told me. I had this conversation with God, and he reveals all these things about the work that I'm going to do and how rough it's going to be. And a lot of people going to reject me because I'm not going to be the conventional priest. He tells me, he warns me of all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just like Gideon. Now I'm sitting here, I'm stuck. I still got these chills all over my body, and something is talking to me, and I don't know where it's coming from. I ain't hear no voice, but it's coming from inside me. And you know what I'm saying? So, but I'm still doubting. I'm just like everybody else. If we 100% with ourselves, all of us doubt if God is real at some point in time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, all right, well, I tell you what, God, you know what I'm saying? Because I just read up. I still got a closet full of dope. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to like give those dope away. So I'm like, well, I'll tell you what, God, if you really want me to, you got this work for me to do, then you got to do this, and you got to bring X amount of dollars in and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So he like, you know what I'm saying? He said, I tell you what, I'm not going to do your little challenge. He said, but I tell you what, I'm gonna let you know right now and disapprove that you had a conversation with me, disapprove that this is a true calling. He said, those guys are still planning on coming to rob you tomorrow night. But if you make the right decision tonight, you will be able to make it through it. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said, and we just ended with that. So now I'm sitting there at my table, and I'm spooked. And I'm like this. I'm like, I done seen a ghost, which I really technically did, and I'm shaking, bro. So by this time, my boy, like literally after the conversation end, my boys come in. You know what I'm saying? They all, cracking up and all that stuff, and they see me sitting there, and they're like, man, what's up? I said, man, they said, what's wrong with you? There's something up with you. I said, man, I'm straight. They said, nah, bro, something wrong with you. Like, what happened? I said, nigga, I just talked to God. You know what I'm saying? They started laughing because they thought I was BSing with them or whatever. And then they asked me like, man, did you hit that Chevy? Now, one thing I did do, I did like once or twice, but my brother had started smoking heavy Chevys real bad. And if you don't know what heavy Chevy is weed with cocaine sprinkled on top of it. So though I said I never touched cocaine, I did hit one. I never smoked the full one, but I did hit one or two times. And they had rolled one right before I left, and we was planning on smoking it when they got back. So that's why I'm like, man, did you hit that heavy already? I said, nah, bro, I'm dead serious. I said, matter of fact, I'm going to give y'all this, and I got something to do. So when I got my pounds, now, again, I didn't get dro, so it still had, like, sticks and stems in it, and it had a lot of shake. And for some reason, people don't like shake. You know what I'm saying? They get pissed off if you sell them the shake, but the shake is still weed. It's actually the most potent weed because it's all the stuff that shook off the bundle or whatever. But most people didn't like shake, so what I would do to save money, I would smoke a shake. So if I got a pound, I would have at least an ounce and a half of shake. And I would smoke the shake and I would sell all the buds. You know what I'm saying? So I had, like I said, I had just read up. So I had like an ounce of shake sitting right there on the table because I had rolled up before I started writing this song. So I threw my boy, said, hey, take this ounce of shake. I said, roll all of it. I said, get a box of cigars because I bought cigars by the boxes too because they're cheap. I said, roll all this. And when y'all get done, let me know. So when I gave them that, I got up. I went to my room and I closed my door, and for the first time I got on my knees and I went to God wholeheartedly. And all I just started saying was, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't ask him for nothing. I didn't even think of nothing. I started, I'm sorry. So I started thinking about all the stuff that I had did over the years, and I was just apologizing for it. And I was going on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So like 20, 30 minutes go by, and my brother still, they have no clue what's going on. They come knock on the door, and my brother like, man, what's up? I said, man, y'all done? He said, yeah. I said, I'll be up there in a minute. So I get up, I go into my kitchen, I try to grab a garbage bag, and I come back and I go into my stash spot in my closet, and I just start cleaning it out. All the drugs I had, all the weed, the pills, everything, the mushrooms, everything I had, I put in this bag and I tied a knot in it, and I went up front. And I told my boys, hey man, y'all sit down, go and start blazing up. I'm not going to blaze with y'all, I just need y'all to listen. So see, they have no clue what's going on. Now it's about 11:30 Sunday night. And man, y'all, when I tell y'all I preach, I know this video is kind of long, but this ain't even nowhere near as long as what they went through. I preached that night. Now again, I hadn't been in church in 6 years. I never fully read the Bible. But I set those dudes down, and from about 11:30 that night to 8 o'clock that morning, I preached for 8.5 hours straight. And the crazy part, man, I was like quoting the Bible. I was telling them all these things that God had revealed to me. And I'm telling y'all now, I'm like normal, but right then, the reason why they thought I hit the heavy, because I was like tweaking, bro. I was, hey man, and God showed me this, and then He said this thing, and He said this gonna happen, and I was just like tweaking. I was just going like a million miles a minute because God had shown me so much, and I just wanted to tell Him all of it. You know what I'm saying? So I get done, and at the end, they're like, man, are you serious about this? I said, man, I'm going to show y'all how serious I am. So I had this dude named, his name was he was from Arkansas, and he moved down to Arkansas. He was a college student too, but he had hung out with us so much, he ended up failing out of school. So he was going to move back to Arkansas. So about 3 weeks before this happened, he asked me to show him the game, show him how to know the drug game and everything, give him some connects and all that. And he was going to set up shop at Arkansas, and we was going to try to like kind of transport back and forth money, that kind of thing. He was going to set up shop, and I was going to be like over it or whatever. So I like, I bet. You know what I'm saying? So when this happened, I said, oh, come here, bro. I said, I need you to come and stand in front of everybody. So he comes up. He's like, what's up, bro? I said, man, look, I know I promised you a couple of weeks ago that I would show you the drug game. I said, but I can't do that now. I said, because I talked to God last night and I got something else to do. I said, but I would help you get ahead. So here you go. And I grabbed that bag that was full of all my money. You know what I'm saying? And I handed it to this dude. And he said, what's that? I said, man, it's some pound or two of weed. It's all kind of pills in there, mushrooms, all that stuff. I said, bro, you can have it. And so first you're like, oh, no, hell no. You know what I'm saying? This nigga didn't lost his mind. He's like, I can have it. So he thought I was testing him. I said, yeah, you can have it. He said, why you giving me this, bro? I said, nigga, I just told you, I just talked to God, and I promised God I'll never do this again. I said, he said, so what you want me to do with it? I said, man, you can smoke it, you can give it away, you can sell it for, you can sell it, you know what I'm saying? I said, honestly, you can shove it up your butt for all I care. I said, but don't bring me one single dime from it, because I just promised God I'll never sell drugs again. So when I said that and I handed him the second time, he was a little hesitant, but he reached out and grabbed it. And when he reached out and grabbed it, I let it go. And y'all, the Bible talks about a peace that passes all understanding. I felt that in that moment. I never understood what that was, but I felt that. And it literally felt like this weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And I was about, like, I felt like I was about to float away. You know what I'm saying? Like this huge weight, this burden of these sins I had been carrying all these years. And when I let that bag go, it was like a symbol of me letting that old life go. And I just felt this weight, this life. And when I let that bag go, my boy like, he's serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, well, how can we know God? So for 3 days straight, y'all, I didn't eat, I didn't sleep, I didn't drink water. For 3 days straight, I preached, y'all. And the reason why I preached for 3 days straight, because I gave them to my boy O. And I said, look here, I'm not reneging on what I told you. I said, but look, you ain't got no skin in the game. You didn't pay for these, so this is what I want you to do. I said, hang out in my apartment, and when my people call, you know what I'm saying, whenever they call, ask them what they want, and then tell them they can get it for free if they listen to me preach. So that's how I preached for 3 days straight, because I preached to every customer that came by. And I wasn't preaching. I was basically telling them the same story I told you, telling y'all. So that's what happened for 3 days straight. You know what I'm saying? Now, last thing I'm going to tell y'all, and I got to get it because I'm right here. I knew it was going to take too long. So this is the major thing that God did that made me really convert and make the decision like, all right, I'm going to put my all into Him. So now, fast rewind. Let's go back to the Monday night. You know what I'm saying? This Monday night, like I said, that was the first day I preached the 8 hours to my boys. And then that whole day, like all my customers, I gave it to them. And normally I would keep my door locked because, you know what I'm saying, no, if you leave your door locked, somebody gonna run in your house. You know what I'm saying? Just off chance kind of thing. So I never, even to this day, my kids, when I walk in and they got the doors unlocked, I get pissed. Because I don't play that, because I know I know plenty of people that ran up in your house, so I don't do that. But this day, the Spirit of God was on me so strong, bro, and I wanted anybody that came to my house was going to get that word about God today. So I just left my door unlocked, and then because people coming in and out, and I'm preaching the whole day, preaching. So now finally it's around 10:30, 11, everything to come down. That was about 10:30. Everything to come down, and all my customers gone, and it's just me and my boys, and I'm just going at it. And so we had an apartment. Like, you had the front door, then it was like this long hallway, and then my room was at the very end of the hallway, was the master bedroom, and then my brother's was right beside mine, but it was it would be to the left of you walking toward my room, to the right of you coming out of my room. So all the lights in the house is off, and nobody's in the house but me and my boys, and they sitting on my bed, and I'm just preaching. Because I was going to go to bed, but I just couldn't stop talking about God and the things He had revealed. So now, in the midst of this, I heard my front door open. And because, like I said, I didn't lock it because I wanted everybody to come in, but I forgot to lock it after everybody left. So I heard my front door open, but the thing is, I hadn't called nobody. Nobody hadn't called me. I wouldn't expect nobody. So I'm preaching, but at the same time, like, who the hell is this? Because I wouldn't expect nobody. I said, well, I send when they get there. So I just keep on preaching. I keep on preaching. And then as I'm preaching, I'm hearing the footsteps approach. And it's 2 sets of footsteps. So I'm like, man, who the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, I'll see when they get there. So I keep on going, and finally the footsteps get right outside my door. And right as these 2 dudes walk to my door, I look up, and it's 2 men in ski masks. One had a 12-gauge shotgun, and the other one had a 22 pistol. And they both aiming right at me, and they said, lay it down, nigga. So I'm preaching. I'm in the middle preaching. I look over these dudes. I said, nigga, I already know who y'all is. Sit down somewhere. And I just went back to preaching. You know what I'm saying? So imagine that, bro. You walk in with ski masks and guns out, expecting, you know what I'm saying, to rob people, to intimidate people, and nobody, because the thing was, what made it so eerie, well, not eerie, just show you God was in it. My boys didn't even look at these niggas. Like, it's like they didn't even see them come into the room. I was the only one that noticed they came to the room. But the Spirit of God was on me so strong, y'all. Like, they didn't even want to blink. They didn't want to miss a word what I was saying, because we was on some real supernatural type stuff at that moment. So they didn't even look at these niggas standing there with guns. So I see them. I'm like, man, y'all sit down somewhere. And I just go back to preaching. So they standing up like a minute or so, and they looking at each other like, nigga, is this real? Like, do they not see we standing here with guns? Why is nobody acknowledging us? So they looking at each other. So finally they're like, we just playing. You know what I'm saying? So they took the ski mask off, and guess who it was? It was the same dude that asked me to go get the bullets from him the day before, Mandrikas, and his boy Yoshan. So Yoshan had the 12-gauge, so he kind of cocked it up against my bedroom door, and Mandrikas had the 22 pistol, so he stuck it in the back of his pants. You know what I'm saying? So I go on for another 10, 15 minutes. So they literally sit down on the bed and start listening to me tell this story or whatever. So they sit down, and they nervous because they looking at each other like, nigga, what is going on? With their eyes, they're like, what is going on right now? Like, we walk in expecting these niggas be partying and robbing them, and we walk in this nigga preaching like, what is happening? You know what I'm saying? So I go about another 10, 15 minutes to get him a chance to calm down, and then I told Mandrikas, I said, hey, because me and Mandrikas had some words because he got into one of the kids from my crew a day or so before this. So I said, hey, man, we need to talk. So he thought that's what it was. So I said, hey, man, we need to talk about something. Let's come smoke with me in the other room. So I grabbed one of the blunts that they had rolled earlier, and we go into my brother's room. Now, on the way in there, I say this to God. I say, all right, he still got that 22 pistol stuck in his pants. I know by now he got them bullets, and I know you already said he was coming to kill me. So I tell you what, I'm not going to take my pistol in there, and I'm going to confront this nigga about coming to rob me and killing me tonight, and I'm not going to defend myself. You're going to have to defend. I'm like, you got this work for me to do, you're going to have to defend me. So we go in the room, we sit down on my brother's bed, and we light the blunt, and I'm passing. I light to get it going. Now I was inhaling, but I was breathing it in, not breathing it in. I was sucking it in, but I wasn't inhaling. You know what I'm saying? I was sucking the smoke in, but I was just blowing it out because I wanted him to get comfortable. Then I passed it to him, pull pass. So this goes on for a minute. Neither one of us say nothing. We just sitting there smoking. And then, like, when it got about halfway through, and I could tell he was a little high, I passed to him, and I looked him in the eyes. I said, here you go, bro. I said, oh, by the way, I forgive you. And he said, for what? I said, nah, don't worry about it, bro. I forgive you. He said, for what? I said, man, nigga, I know when y'all came here tonight, y'all were planning on robbing me and killing me. But it's all good, bro. I forgive you for it. He said, oh, nah, bro. We wouldn't do you like that, man. We were just, we were just playing. We want to see if we can catch you off guard. I said, bro. I said, nigga, it's 11 o'clock at night. I said, nobody comes to nobody's house at 11 o'clock at night with ski mask and gun on playing, nigga. I like, I know you would come to rob me and kill me, but it's good. He said, no, nigga, you got me effed up. So by this time, we get escalated. You know what I'm saying? So he's yelling, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to stay calm, but he's yelling. So he's like, nigga, got up. So he jumps up, and I jump up. So again, I'm like, oh, we about to tussle. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to defend myself. So what I did, I put my back against my brother's door. I just put my arms out like this. And I said, bro, you know what I'm saying? You feel you got a beef, you got to do something, do what you got to do, bro. I ain't going to even do nothing to you. No, I ain't going to even do nothing to defend myself. So he's like, oh, nigga, you think I'm a bee? So he rushes at me. You know what I'm saying? And he rushes at me, and he comes with his fist up. And like right before he get to him, because I'm already like, man, this nigga gonna knock me out or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Right before like he gets there to where, and he pauses. Right before he gets to me, he pauses literally like, nigga, like this is my face. This is his face. You know what I'm saying? Like we looking at each other eye to eye, breathing the same air. You know what I'm saying? His nose almost touching mine, and he just stops. And he got this look on his face like he wanted to hit me, but he couldn't. And he had his fist up, and his fist was like shaking, and he was just breathing hard. You know what I'm saying? And he was just, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there, and I'm like this. I'm just knowing I'm about to get knocked out, but he never swung. So finally, I opened my eye, I'm like, man, no, we go over like 15 seconds. And I remember thinking vividly, it's so crazy I can remember this because this happened 22 years ago. I remember vividly thinking like, man, this nigga gonna hit me or what? And right when I said that, I saw a teardrop come out of this dude's eye. Now, this is a gangster. This is a thug. This is a nigga that will hang out with you and then rob you on the way out. Like, this is one of those dudes. And I see this single teardrop come out of this dude's eyes. And then he just threw his arms down, man, y'all, and he just started crying like a baby. You know what I'm saying? And the funny part was, he was saying the same thing that I was saying when I was apologizing to God. He was like, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I was like, man, what you sorry for? He said, bro, I was coming to rob you, bro, but I wasn't going to kill you, bro. And he said, I just going to rob you. I said, nigga, I'm from North Memphis. I'm like, you really think this is the first time I had a gun in my face? I'm like, what was you going to do if I didn't give you what you wanted? He said, man, I'm going to do what I had to do. I said, exactly. I said, up until last night, bro, I was willing to die for this dope stuff. I said, but after last night, I'm willing to die for something else. He said, what's that? I said, God, nigga. And he looked at me and said, nigga, how can I know God like that? I said, bro, let me tell you. And so we went from this altercation, getting ready to fight, possibly die, to me sharing my testimony with this dude in my brother's room. So I go through everything that happened. I go through how God had revealed, you know what I'm saying, to me that he was coming and all that. He said, bro, that gotta be God, bro. It ain't no way you would have known that this was about to go down, bro. He said, man, from now on, bro, if you don't mind, he said, I want to be your right-hand man. He said, I'm a knucklehead, bro. He said, I'm sure I'm going to mess up. He said, but I need you to guide me, bro. I want to know God like you know God. And he said, I don't even know why I'm telling you this, bro, but I love you, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, I love you too. And that was the first time I ever had in my life a man that wasn't in my family say he loved me. You know what I'm saying? And we literally hugged, bro, and this nigga walked out the room. And so his boy was still sitting there with my boys, and he said, hey, bro, let's go. So his boy like, man, what's up? He said, man, I'll tell you in the car. So dude picked up the 12 gauge, and they just walk out. So my boys like, man, what was that all about? I said, all them niggas coming to rob me, but don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? I took care of it. And then I just went back to preaching like nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? So now about this time, it's right at 12 o'clock. And I'm like, God had showed me all I needed to see. Because again, I had asked him to do all these other things. I'm like, he don't do all these other things that I'm not going to answer him. But after confronting that dude and him confessing that he was coming to rob me and kill me, I said, you know what? God, you ain't got to show me none of this. So I told my boys, hey, y'all go up front. I need to do something. So it was exactly 12 a.m. February 17th, it was a Tuesday, which is about to happen in 2.5 hours at exactly 12 a.m. on February 17th, Tuesday, back in 2004. I got on my knees and I told God, I said, man, look, here, bro. I said, first of all, let me apologize. I don't know who the hell I thought I was to make you prove yourself to me. I said, but you ain't got to do nothing to prove yourself to me ever again. I said, from this moment forward, my life is yours. Wherever you want me to go, whatever you want me to do, whatever you want me to say, you own me from this day forward. As far as I'm concerned, I died at that moment. Like this whatever moment I live from this day forward is only because you want me to live to serve your purpose and your will. And that's what I would do with the rest of my life. And I would go into the projects. I would go into the jails. I would go wherever you send me and I would go and pull your lost sheep out. And I dedicated myself to God February 17, 2004 at 12 a.m. And that's why I do these celebrations every month. That's why I do, like I've been on a week-long fast, which y'all know. So if I haven't been responding to y'all on Facebook and social media, that's the reason, is because I'm preparing myself, because at 12 a.m., I'm going to get on my knees and I'm going to spend 3 hours with God, because that's how I start this day. After I end my fast at 12, my fast ends at 12. And at the end of my fast, I like to spend my first 3 hours in prayer to God, praying for the world, praying for my family, praying for this ministry, and more importantly, praying for y'all souls. You know what I'm saying? So that day, that moment, I gave my life to God. And like you said, 22 years later, I'm still here telling the same story, doing the same work. You know, and a lot of people often ask me like, man, how could you go from being this drug dealer that had everything you wanted, you know, all the cars, the girls, the clothes, and all that stuff? How can you go from that, you know what I'm saying, in just a blink of an eye? Like literally, I didn't sell the rest of my dope. I gave it away. Like I went straight to serving God. And like, how can you do that? I said, because two things happened to me that night. I said, first of all, I finally, without a doubt, knew there was a God. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we all have in the back of our minds, is there really a God? I'm here to tell y'all, there is a God. You're going to stand before God someday. And you're going to have to take account for every single thing you do. Matter of fact, I don't want to say God, that's too arbitrary. Jesus is God. You know what I'm saying? You will stand. Jesus is real, and you will stand before Jesus someday and give an account for everything you've done in your body. And you know what I'm saying? And how you use this sacrifice that he made for you. I knew that without a doubt that night, 200%. So I knew if there is a God, if Jesus is God, and there is a God, then guess what? There's a devil. So if there's a God and a devil, there's a heaven and a hell, and I got a work to do to keep people from going to hell. So I'm doing everything I can to get to heaven. So that's one. I said the second thing that happened to me that made that transition. Ever since that night, y'all know I was telling y'all earlier when I was talking to God, I had these chills all over my body. Well, guess what? Every single time I tell this testimony, every single time I preach, and I know I'm bringing a word from the God, I get chills all over my body. And it only happens when I'm preaching. It's been 22 years until this day, even since I've been talking to y'all. I've been getting chills on my body. Sometimes it's like a little portion on my head. Sometimes it's over here. Sometimes I feel like somebody's rubbing my back and these chills just going up and down my back. Sometimes I get a full body chill. And sometimes it gets so good. Like if I'm really in the zone, so to speak, and the spirit really comes through me, I've had several occasions where the people I'm talking to get chills on their body. Like I had several occasions with dudes in the jail. They be like, "Ooh, man, I just got chills all over my body." And I say that's the Holy Spirit, because the Bible says wherever there's two or more gathered in my name, I'm there in the presence. And that's the gift that God gave me that night. I've never seen the light. I just got the chills again. I don't know if y'all can see it, but my hair's staring up. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen the light. I've never audibly heard a voice, but every single time I'm telling somebody about God, I get chills all over my body. And that's the presence of God that I'm able to feel. And then it encourages me to keep going. Just like I've been telling y'all this story tonight, I got chills on me right now. And you can probably see I'm sweating a little bit. So it's not because I'm cold. It's because I'm in the presence of God, because I'm doing this thing that God wants me to do. So that's why my ministry is the way it is. I know a lot of people has been offended lately because of those videos I dropped. I dropped those videos in celebration of this 22 anniversary because it's lined up perfectly. Like I've celebrated, y'all have seen me over the years. I've celebrated it, but this is on the second time in 22 years where it lined up perfectly. Where Friday was the 13th and Tuesday the 17th, just like it was the day when I gave my life to God. So, and the difference, the reason why I say this is a huge one, because now I'm a pastor. So 22 years later, as a pastor, this Sunday I was able to deliver my testimony in my own church as a pastor. 22 years to the day I got called to preach on the 15th, which was a Sunday. I just didn't answer to that 12 o'clock on Tuesday morning, but I actually got called that Sunday. So on the same Sunday, I got called to preach. Exactly 22 years later, I got to preach my own testimony in my own church. You know what I'm saying? So that's why this is so huge for me and such a blessing. That's why I'm so excited about this week. That's why I've been taking this week-long fast. And I just pray, man, from this story and this testimony that you guys will see, God is real, man. If there's any of y'all that's dealing with the doubt or, you know what I'm saying, juggling with your salvation, man, stop waiting, bro. I waited so long. And now I look back on it, because I did this when I was 24. But I look back on all that time before 24, those 5 years I didn't go to church, didn't do nothing for God. I think about how many people that I come across that I could have told about God. How many people I could have shared my testimony with. And I didn't. And the crazy part about it, you know what I'm saying, I thought I was really living when I was selling dope because I had all the cars and closed up. I didn't really start living until I started serving God. Like, I now understand what Jesus meant when he said, I came to give you life, but to give it more abundant. We think we're missing out on the world. We're missing out on things because we give our life to God, when in reality, we're missing out because we're not giving our life back to God. I can't tell you about the peace. Up until that day, I realized I never slept good. Because I was always worried about, am I going to get robbed? You know what I'm saying? I got to keep an eye on my shoulder. Have to make sure all the doors are locked and all that. After that, man, I sleep like a baby. Like, it can be a bum going off outside my house, and I'm here and knocked out. My wife had to wake me up because she sleep light. Because I be out. Because I have a peace. Because I know whatever's going to happen, God is in control. And that's what they're sung. And basically, that's what the song. So my life verse is Romans 8:28. It says, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God and to them who are called according to his purpose. And that's why if I ever sign anything for y'all, I'm always going to sign in Romans 8:28, because that's my life verse. Because God showed me, as horrible as my childhood was, as horrible as North Memphis was, as horrible and traumatic as those things that happened to me, now because I went through those things and I survived those things and I made my way back to God, now those same, the same tragedy, the same pain, the same hurt that plagued me all these years, I can use it to relieve the same trauma and pain and hurt from people that's going through it right now. And so that's what we have to understand. Everything you go through is not, your life is not about you. When you love God, you call yourself a Christian, your life is not your life. Everything you're going to be judged by, it's not going to be judged on what you did to get yourself and your family in a better position. You're going to be judged by what did you do to help others get in a better position. And that's what God showed me. So I had to go through all that pain and trauma and stuff that I can't forget, the unimaginable things, because there's other people going through the same pain and trauma and unimaginable things it's pulling them away from God, which it did for me, but now it's making me stronger in God. So now I can go take my testimony to them and tell them that, yes, I know what you're going through is painful. Yes, I know it don't make sense, but if you truly trust God, it's going to work out in the end. And guess what? Now I'm married. Nobody in my family was married or stayed married. You know what I'm saying? I've been married. Man, this April is going to be 22 years, because that's what the first thing was. Another thing, which is a whole nother story, I asked my baby mama to marry me like the very next day, and we've been married now for 22 years, coming up this April. You know what I'm saying? I got all my kids been in their life the entire time. It's like a movie. I can go room to room, checking on them, make sure they sleep, snuggling them, tucking them in. I never seen anything like that. I'm a chemist for $1 billion corporation that get to fly all over the world. Matter of fact, next week, a couple of weeks, I'm gonna have to go and do some work up in Illinois. You know what I'm saying? I'm living a life that I didn't even know was possible. I'm living a life. I'm a chemist. I'm a black dude from North Memphis with 2 parents of crackheads, and I'm a chemist for $1 billion corporation. That don't even make sense. I didn't even know what a chemist. I didn't even think about a chemist. If you told me 22 years ago someday I'd be a chemist, I thought you lost your darn mind. You know what I'm saying? The life that I have now, which is a wonderful life, and I'm not bragging to y'all. I'm just telling y'all what God has done for me. And it's all because I made the decision in life that put my faith and trust in God. So if God is tugging on your heart and you haven't made the decision, put your full faith and trust in him, I'm telling you, do it, bro. Because you're thinking you're missing out because you haven't. And in reality, you're missing out because you haven't. You think you're going to miss out if you do, but you're really missing out because you haven't. The life that I have now and the stuff I have now is way better than anything that I ever had when I was selling those drugs and hooking up those girls and doing those drinking and all that stuff. Way better. It don't even compare, bro. And the thing is, it come with peace. There's no chaos behind it. I don't have to worry when the police get behind me because I ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about if my girl cheating on me, gonna bring something back home, because we loyal to each other. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about, is my kids going to make it back home tonight? Because we not in the area that stuff happens. We in the country. We in the sticks. Now, I ain't say this stuff ain't going to happen, but it ain't as likely as it happened as it is in Memphis. I got a completely new life because I gave my life to God. And if the Lord is tugging your heart, you watch the turn, you made it through this, then obviously tugging your heart, you need to do the same. And the way to do that, the first thing you got to do, if you're not 100% sure about your salvation, the first thing you got to do is make that decision to trust Jesus Christ, your Savior. If you don't know, you're not 100% sure you do it, you've done that before, reach out to me, DM me. You know what I'm saying? If you're watching this, then obviously on Facebook, get in my DMs. Hey, Brother John, man, shoot, I'm not exactly sure about my salvation. Man, I want to know. I want to know what God the way, just like my boy told me, I want to know God the way you know God. And I will put some time in my schedule to go over the gospel with you. That's the first step. And then after that, put your faith and trust in him. I don't know what you're going through right now, but you're going through something. Everybody going through something. You either on your way through a storm or just came out of a storm or in the middle of a storm right now. That's everybody. So I know you're going through something, but just know God is in that storm. When did Peter walk on the water? When he was in the storm with Jesus. When did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego walk with Jesus? When they was in the middle of the fire. You got to go through those storms to get to what God wants you to be. Because what it is, it's a test. He wanted to test you, just like I was just watching this thing about this lady. She was giving a testimony, and it's powerful. I'm going to start using it. But she said she was watching the Navy SEALs, and they was going through Hell Week. You know what I'm saying? And she was watching that, and she's a Christian, and she was going through some stuff at the time. And she said they was going she was watching this Navy SEAL training video, and it was going through Hell Week. And what Hell Week is a week long for Navy SEALs before they finally graduate, and they give you they put you in the worst possible conditions with the least amount of resources, and they want to see if you will tap out. Like all you got to do to stop it, you know what I'm saying, is to ring this bell, and they want to see if you're gonna ring this bell. And she said, I realized what they was doing, they was trying to break them. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why they were trying to break them, because they'd rather have them break in training than to put them out there on the battlefield and they break out there because of what's going on in the war. And that's what God does for you. He want to see you break. You know what I'm saying? See if you would break amongst all this terrible stuff that's going on, because he don't want to put his faith and trust in you and you get out there on the battlefield and then you break. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I've been through. And right now, I'm going through a battlefield. People are upset because I put the music video out. But I told them, you know, some church member, because it's the Christians, oh, he's supposed to be a man of the cloth. And you know what I'm saying? And he's supposed to be a Christian, and he's out here cursing, and you know what I'm saying? And blah, blah, blah. First of all those songs I did, I recorded over 20 years ago. Every single one of them. None of them is something I did recently. But if you listen to them, all of them still the truth. You know what I'm saying? All the people been saying, man, this is fire. Nigga, I recorded it 20 years ago, and it's still fire to this day because it's of God. So I know people ain't going to see it, and that's what God told me. He said, man, hey, your ministry ain't going to be for everybody. Some people going to be offended for it. He said, but I need you to stay you because I need you to gather my lost sheep. So I want y'all to understand that about me. That's why I do the way that's why I'm the way I am. That's why I do what I do. I'm not here to save the world. I'm here to save God's lost sheep. And if you stay here that long, you must be one of them. And if you don't stay, if this offend you, my video and my music offend you, you're just going to be offended because I'm not going to change. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to change. So that's what I've been dealing with for this weekend. People talking about I need to step down in my church and all that stuff. So I want to let y'all know, I want to announce it here. I did step down at the church, but I'm starting my own church. No, they wanted me to do things a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't operate that way. They weren't too happy about some of the characters I was bringing in, so to speak. But I left. You know what I'm saying? They gave me an ultimatum, but I told them I couldn't do it. You know, and we was on good terms. I don't need y'all bashing the church or nothing like that. But I am starting my own church. So this Sunday would be the first one. We're going to have it in my house. God has blessed me. I got this huge house with a garage on the end that got like a big room where like 10, 15 people can be in there. So I'm going to start my own church, and the name of it is going to be called the House of Lost Sheep. So this Sunday, I'm going to announce it officially on Facebook Wednesday. But just y'all, my people, y'all went through this brutal, long testimony. I wanted to tell y'all first because y'all are the reason why I do this. So I did step down from Elysian Grove. That's why I didn't say it in the beginning. I stepped down. They gave me an ultimatum, but I stepped down because the ultimatum gave me, I just wasn't going to do it. But the Lord put on my heart to start my own church. So this Sunday, if you're in the area, come visit me, 1219 Woodland Drive, New Johnsonville, Tennessee. That's going to be my new church. It's going to be at my house in my little garage. Don't worry, I'm going to clean it up for you, try to make it smell good. But I am starting. So that's where I was at. That's why I was an hour late because another pastor called me and we had to have some deep conversations because some stuff was said that was people was being misled, and I was in the middle of that conversation, and I like, dang it, I'm supposed to be giving my testimony, but I gotta get this stuff straightened out. And he gave me some good sound advice, and that's why I was late. So I apologize, but I am now starting my own church. It's going to be called the House of Lost Sheep, and I would love all y'all to join. So that's my testimony. I got so much more, but it's already been over 2.5 hours, which I always go that long, but it's just, I can't leave out these details because I want y'all to know God did so much for me. Some of y'all, I can tell when y'all came in, if you came up halfway through, man, go back. You know what I'm saying? Go back and watch the beginning of it. You know what I'm saying? And make sure you get all this because, again, it went from like the worst scenario possible to the best because I've been living the last 22 years for the Lord, and I pray that y'all will do the same. So I love you all. Let's pray, and then we get out of here. Dear Lord and Father, thank you so much for watching over today. Man, thank you for this wonderful testimony that you've given me, Lord. 22 years I've been using it until this day, Lord. And a lot of people are like, you can't be of God. You know what I'm saying? What Jesus said? He said you can tell a tree by its fruit. You know what I'm saying? And these same people that's saying I can't be of God because I curse and I put this music out that got cursing with it, they've never led a soul to you. Whereas me, over the last 10 years, I've led almost 1,000 people to you. And all of them have been, majority, 90% is people that's been from the projects or prisoners in jail or people inmates in jail or from low income neighborhoods like trailer parks. Oh, almost 1,000 souls I've been able to lead to you because of this testimony you've given me and this task that you've given me, this work you've given me to do. So I pray you help me right now, Lord, with all the persecution I'm facing, to stay firm in my conviction, to stand tall in my beliefs, and to stay focused on this work. Because you told me it was going to happen. You know, I didn't think it would be as bad as it is, you know what I'm saying, which you never do. You told me it was going to happen, but I pray for the encouragement and strength I need to stay strong. I pray you be with all my Lost Sheep members as well, Lord. Help them know that I do it for them, Lord. I pray I can continue to be an influence in their lives So they will be willing to give their whole heart to you just like I did, because they can't really serve you until they give their whole heart to you. We can't serve you waffling back and forth. You know what I'm saying? The only way we can fully serve you, Lord, is if we give our whole heart to you. And I pray that someone will hear this story tonight. I pray someone will hear my testimony and they'll be willing to give their whole heart to you just like I have, so they can go forth and doing the work that you have for them to do. So be with all my ministry members, be with the Lost Sheep Ministry, continue to help it grow, prosper, reach out to the community, change the lives of others, and capture lost souls of men. Keep me and my family encouraged and strengthened as we go forth doing this work. Be with all my ministry members as well. Keep them encouraged. They go forth doing this work. Be a wall of protection around all of us. Keep us safe and protected from the attack of the enemy, whether it's physical or spiritual, Lord. And continue to let your spirit come down upon our heart to guide our steps so we can do the work you have for us to do. Be with all those that are sick and shut in, Lord, as they go through to deal with the infirmities of their bodies, Lord. Keep your healing hands upon them as a Jehovah Rapha. I pray they can feel your healing power. I pray as they work with their doctors, you get their doctors the wisdom to make the right diagnosis, prescribe the right treatments. I pray those treatments are effective and they're able to get back to being 100%, and they give you all the honor, glory, and praise because they recognize it's because of you they're able to do so, Lord. I pray, Lord, that you just continue to shine your love and grace down upon me and continue to use me in a mighty way. And if I am being arrogant, if I am being prideful, please show me. I never want to do nothing because I'm so proud and they can't stop me. I want everything I want to do is I want to bring honor and glory to your name. And I pray you give me the ability to do so. I pray you continue to be with all our service members, all those in the military, law enforcement, rescue services, medical services, all those who put their health, life, and safety at risk to protect their health, life, and safety of others. Be a wall of protection around them so they can make it back home safely in the same condition they went off to work. Serve in, give them the wisdom to make the right decisions, especially when it comes to life and death situations, and give them the wisdom not to use abuse the authority they've been granted over those they're supposed to be serving and protected, Lord. I pray you just continue to shine your love and grace down upon us all. Be with our leaders. Help us see, help this country see how far away from you we've gotten, and give us the wisdom to choose the right leaders, and give the leaders the wisdom to make the right decision to lead this country back to you so we can once again get back to being one nation under you. I pray, Lord, for the day when the world as a whole, we will humble ourselves, pray, seek your face, and turn from our wicked ways, and hear so you can hear from heaven, forgive our sins and heal our lands. And I pray this testimony will touch some hearts tonight. I pray it will go out into this world. I pray that song I just released will go out into this world and do what you told me that it was going to do. Touch the hearts of men and turn the hearts of men back to you, no matter how far away they are. I know that their light can get in their heart and bring them back to you, and I'm praying to do so. And I pray you just help me stay on my path. Give me the strength and encouragement I need. Give my ministry members the strength and encouragement they need, because they're going to go through this persecution as well, just like me, and just help us stay faithful in this work you called us to do. Thank you for this wonderful night. Thank you for this wonderful testimony. And thank you for being such an awesome God. And I thank you for everything that's happened to me, good, bad, and ugly, because I know it all works together for good, for your will. I love you. Thank you for all you've done and given. And say this prayer in one of Son Jesus' name. Amen. Oh, man, that was rough, boy. That was rough. Woo. But man, thank y'all for joining me tonight. Again, apologize for being so late. Ending announcements, I'm gonna get on up out of here. As always, but anything in particular you want to like to cover, discuss, please reach out to me and let me know. Now, Lord willing, now I will let y'all know next Monday. I won't be here next Monday. I got some stuff to do. I actually got a concert that I'm supposed to be performing at next Monday down in Nashville. So I won't be here next Monday. I apologize for that. But the Monday after, Lord will, if I'm back, I will share the gospel message. I always do that too. If you're not 100% sure, don't wait till next 2 weeks from now. But I will be sharing the message of grace, of God being salvation by grace, the Monday after. So that'd be not the 23rd. I guess that'd be the 1st of March or 2nd of March, somewhere in there. I will be sharing the message of salvation. Keep sharing the videos, telling people about the videos, so that this video can get out and we can continue to do this work. And if you're not 100% sure about your salvation, reach out to me and let me know. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, most important decision you ever made, reach out to me and let me know. And I'll put some time in my schedule to go over the gospel with you. And if you need any kind of spiritual counseling, reach out to me and let me know. And I'll put some time in my schedule. And like I said, if you want to donate to the ministry, especially now I'm getting my own church, I'm going to need it. If y'all want to hook your boy up, go to my website, LostSheepMinistries.com. You scroll down, you'll see where you can donate to the site, to Lost Sheep Ministries. It's not going to go to the church anymore because now the Lost Sheep Ministry has become the church. But I guarantee you, everything that I take in, I will be using for the good of the kingdom and to build this church. And if you want to come by a visit, like I said, we're going to have my first Sunday at the new church that the Lord has put in my heart. It's called the House of Lost Sheep. That'll be this Sunday at 11 a.m. 1219 Woodland Drive, New Johnsonville, Tennessee, 37134. I love you all. Thank you all for bearing with me. I know that was long. It always go about 3 hours like a movie, but I had to get that all in there. But I pray it was informative. I prayed it was helpful. And I pray that some that will hear this will come under conviction and they will want to live their life to serve the Lord and get a whole heart to the Lord as I have. So I love you all. Thank you all. Sorry I'm going to get to see you next week, but Lord willing, 2 weeks from now, I will be back. But until then, I love you. Continue to pray for me. I continue to pray for you. And remember, no matter what you got going on, always watch your back and pray. So until next time, I love you all. Peace.